out the signals for the Baltimore Colts. Unitas gives to Amici. The Colts are the world champions. Amici scores.
It's amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending, exciting, thrilling finish in the history of college football. California has won the big game. 5 seconds left in the game. You believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
This is Phil Steele.
This is Mike Burnham.
This is Wes Durham.
This is Mike Ashley.
Hi, this is Chuck Foreman, number 44 of the Minnesota Vikings.
Woo, mercy, this is handsome Jimmy Vane, the Boogie Woogie Man.
This is Coach Fry with Virginia Tech football, and you are listening to Big Dog Sports Talk.
Are you ready to rock? Are you ready to roll? Okay, let's do it.
You're in the doghouse with Rick Watson on Big Dog Sports Talk, presented by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Join us in the Family Fencing Studios and chime in on the McClellan Chiropractic chat line. He's keeping cool with help from Little River Heating and Air, but this show is straight fire. And now, the big dog, Rick Watson.
Rick Watson's got the mic, he's the big dog king. Cover sports so sharp, it's a new river thing. Virginia Tech fire, Radford pride too. Every stat, every play, he's bringing it to you. He's got that voice, deep as a valley, breaking it down, no dilly, no dally.
Hey, good morning. How are you? It is the Thursday edition of the program. Hope you're okay. We got a lot going on today. David Smith's going to join us, the Radford Hall of Fame. We're going to talk some, wait a minute, let me double check my calendar because I've heard zero hype. Yeah, hey, what do you know? The NFL draft starts tonight. Andy Bitter from Tech Sideline, get his final synopsis of everything that went on at the spring game.
He's got the scoop.
Alex Square from Radford Baseball. Big series coming up this weekend.
Every word's a hint.
Big win on Tuesday. Gaining momentum now as we head into most important time of the college baseball season, late April, early May. And then Dwight Vick, the definitive source on all things Virginia Tech football. So, man, oh man, we got a lot going on today. I hope everybody's doing okay. I want to thank all of our sponsors. Family Fencing, sponsor of our studios, 540-200-8294. Get a free quote. Mark Hunley, 155 Walters Drive, McClellan Chiropractic, sponsor of our live chat. Thanks very much, Marco. You're the best. We are presented each and every day by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Thanks to Jonathan Sweet and Tim Miller. Go watch the racing this weekend. Sportsplex is on time. We'll be coming your way in just a few months. Little River Heating and Air, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg, 540-553-2971. Whether it's heating, whether it's air, that's why they're called Little River Heating and Air. They're the best in the business. Give them a call. The attorney Ryan Pride down in Radford, 701 West Main Street, Trust and Estate Planning. Big BDST question of the week. Going to be stop the uncensored movement of college athletes to try to fix college sports. That's going to win 20-some votes to 2 for anything else. National Bank member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner of me and the exclusive banking partner of this program, thanks to Lara Ramsey. Professional Door Incorporated, Travis Williams up in Dublin. That is residential commercial garage doors, 38 years in business, the absolute best in the business. Sponsor of our text line. That's why we call it the Professional Door Text Line. ReadySetFund.com, Bob Chris, CRSP11@gmail. Your organization or your school or your team wants to earn some money, reach out to those folks at ReadySetFund.com. And Sundown Electric, one of the best reputations of any local business around, satisfied clients, superior craftsmanship, attention to detail, clear communication, honest, and integrity. Thanks to the Smith brothers, and congratulations. Thanks to the NRV Super Bowl, they're going to be hosting our bash in the summer. 382-5525. Reserve your lanes now for the weekend. Call Terry Stike. Tell him how much you like hearing about it here on the program. And Lawson's Mobile Home Supply, 300 North Franklin Street over in Christiansburg. Windows, door, plumbing supplies, little things around your house you might need. 540-381-8011 and Top Shelf Apparel, thanks to Brandon in Dublin for our T-shirts. How's everybody doing this morning? Good morning, Vic. Good morning, Stephen. Oh, Vic's got some updated news for us. What did I miss last night? Okay, so there you go. Money laundering. Kalen DeBoer, 7 years, $87.5 million. So you're looking at over $12 million a year. Here we go, talking about money. And why do you feel like you need to do this extension now? Wow. Mike Vrabel's going to seek counseling? Yeah, he probably should. He probably should. Yikes. NFL reps meet with the FCC. Yeah, they might lose that. The NFL might lose that. Thank you, T-Bird. Yes, great list of sponsors. We'd love to add many more. We can help them, and certainly they can help us. Yeah. No, he's worth a lot more than $30 billion. Elon Musk. He's worth, I'd say, double that number. I would say double that number. But how's everybody doing this morning? So we're going to have David Smith on. It's bizarre to me that the marketing machine that is the NFL is just completely out of even the sports news cycle. We have a draft that starts tonight, right? This thing's usually marketed. Heck, ESPN just went and paid the piper to take over the whole thing. They bought the NFL Network, which is just terrible for football fans. They're firing people left and right, yet they go out and they buy these properties. Makes zero sense. Disney let go of over, 1,200 employees throughout its company? Oh, $830 billion. Okay, I didn't see the 8. Yeah, that's probably more right. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, now you're talking. Yeah. You know, Elon could sponsor the show. I mean, come on, Elon. Let's go, man. Sponsor the show. I mean, he could sponsor the show. We would love that. Didn't see the 8 there, Vic. Now that's accurate reporting. Even I didn't think it was that high, but it probably makes sense. Probably makes sense. So the NFL draft is tonight. We know who's going number 1. He's the only quarterback that will go number 1 or in the first round in all likelihood. And when it just shows you how when you don't have quarterbacks, nobody cares about the draft. This isn't, I mean, Roger Goodell gets off on the whole bro hug thing. You know, this makes him feel like a man. He doesn't run his league like an actual reputable male, you know, because you look at everything that goes on in the league that he ignores, the latest being with Vrabel. He likes to grab these guys, get them in the hand, and then pull them in. And then he goes, yeah, man. Feel that testosterone. I'm Roger Goodell. Those guys like me. Good morning, Chris Lester. How are you? You're gone, ketchup girl. So, yeah, the draft's tonight, and it's going to be Mendoza, a bunch of defensive players, maybe some offensive linemen. And I am blown away at how few people really care. I mean, I've heard absolutely no one talk about the draft in any way, shape, or form. And am I just missing something? Y'all let me know. Oh, that'd be awesome. UAPS is having their people call my people. They should sponsor. I get stuff delivered. That'd be great, man. Congratulations again, Brian. What can Brown do for you? We could make this thing. We could make this thing outstanding. And even though you have 2 New York teams in the top 5 of the draft, I don't think anybody cares outside New York about the Jets. They've lost for so long. I mean, David, we're going to talk about this with David, and he mentioned it too. Like Geno Smith, they brought Geno Smith in. Nobody cares about the Arizona Cardinals at all. Nobody cares about the Tennessee Titans. Giants are there. The Browns are always in the top 10. Washington, Saints, Chiefs, because of trades, are up there at 9. Then the Giants again. So the Giants have a chance to do some big things with the trade they just made. They're trying to make a splash. You know, you got John Harbaugh up there and new vibe up there, add some more young talent. They're doing it the right way. The Giants will probably be back sooner than later. Yeah. No, that's not true, Chris. I'm not talking about ESPN crap. They have to talk about it because they're invested in it. I don't see it on X anywhere. Let me go there right now. I mean, I'm looking at multiple sports accounts that I follow. Everybody's still talking about other stuff. Nobody's talking about the draft. Throw out ESPN. They have to. Right. The Giants have a chance to make some noise here coming up in the draft, but this thing is uneventful. So after the Raiders take Mendoza, I don't know how the defensive players are going to fall. We think we know, but you never really know. Is this a sign, by the way? Do you think this is a sign the league is starting to lose some of its juggernaut status in terms of its dominance? Prometheus says, I just heard the NBA playoffs are going on. Yeah. We actually talked about it. How about that? Elon Musk is rich enough to buy Ford, GM, and Toyota. Yeah, he is. And still have about what? 600 million left over? The Jets are a lot closer. No, they're not. No, they're not. Jets need a lot. And I think after this year, they're going to need a new head coach. Aaron Glenn looked completely overwhelmed last year. So they haven't been able to get that right either. They haven't been able to get their head coach right, and they haven't been able to get their quarterback right. They thought they had it right with Aaron Rodgers. That turned into a sideshow. Just because guys are good coordinators doesn't mean that they turn out to be good head coaches. Look at the New England Patriots coaching tree. Right? All those guys during the Patriots Super Bowl dynasty, when they kept winning, right? You name it, none of those guys were successful. Vrabel's been successful, right? No, soccer's the atrocity to mankind. Yes, no, we don't. Let me specify. Men's soccer, where they try to act like they have been pushed to the ground and they'll never heal. I don't see that in women's soccer. Those ladies play hard and they get down on the ground, they pop right back up. Jets need a lot. Jets need a lot. The NFL wants the Jets to be good. They want the Giants to be good. They want the biggest media market. They want them to be good. Now, whether they can be good again, I don't know. I thought for a while there, I thought Robert Saleh was going to be the guy. I thought he was finally going to get that team up to a different level. Never happened. You brought in Rodgers. Then they started to get bang heads a little bit. Aaron Glenn was a disaster last year. I mean, as much as we talk about draft picks, these organizations, sometimes you look at the coaches that they hire. Whew, and you just wonder. I mean, look what the Falcons did. I mean, we'll see what this next cycle is going to be interesting, right? We just hired, 10 coaches? Is that right? Was it 10? 10 new coaches? How many of them look like they're going to be? Do we know? Is Harbaugh really going to be able to move? Feels like he's going to be successful. I think David talked about that last week. But man, there's a lot of bad coaching hires too. I think the Raiders nailed it with Clint Kubiak. I'm on record with that one. That feels like a Sean McVay type of hire. Now Mendoza's coming in. They signed Kirk Cousins. I think the Raiders right now have by far made the best preliminary draft moves of anybody. And when is the last time you've said that? Even after the Crosby disaster, they still get back an all-pro player. By the way, I'm not going to say Pro Bowl player because the Pro Bowl is a damn joke, what they've done, what Goodell's allowed to happen to the Pro Bowl. So we're going to say all-pro or an all-pro player. Well, he made the Pro Bowl. No, he didn't. He's not running around out there catching balls for flag football. He's an all-pro. So you get him back, even though the draft, even though your deal fell through, the Ravens reneged on the deal, but the Raiders are fine. Raiders are fine. Yeah, I'm hyping on offense because offensive young coaches. We'll get into it. We'll get into it with David Smith, Chris, because offensive coaches, offensive assistants have a recent history of being very successful. And he gets his own quarterback coming in. And it's not like, he hasn't been doing it in a while. So, yeah, I think Clint Kubiak, he comes from his dad was a successful head coach. Correct. Not yet, but he has an opportunity. I'm saying he will do something. He's been one hell of a coordinator. Aaron Glenn hasn't done a damn thing either. He was a hell of a coordinator. He was a good player. So what's the difference? You tell me. I mean, there was talk Aaron Glenn was going to be fired before the year was out last year. You think he's really the guy to bring the Jets into a Super Bowl or playoff contention? We don't know yet about Kubiak. Let's revisit it here as the year goes on and see what's happening there. Are the Raiders going to be instant contenders? No, they are a disaster. How they've been previously run. But we'll see. Yes, he is what? I don't know what yes, he is means. But put it this way. Let's say your point's well taken. He hasn't done anything. Who would you rather have when you have the number one pick and you have an offensive guy, and you're bringing in the quarterback of the draft, and you probably have a guy that's got one of the best reputations as an offensive coordinator since the whole McVay era? Would you not want that quarterback paired with an offensive guy over a defensive guy? It doesn't work usually. So, yeah, I think it's going to end up being good. I do. I don't hear NFL coaches getting massive buyouts when fired. Hey, more money laundering. Vic told us DeBoer signed a 7-year extension for $87.5 million. So that's what? Over $12 million a year? So you're paying him $12 million a year. I can't imagine what Vic, what's the buyout? See, we're not being told things honestly. Oklahoma State reported $2.6 million deficit. Then they signed Crooks from Iowa State. And now you're just giving that kind of money away. Why? Is Kalen DeBoer that really was he? I mean, there were so many schools that needed coaches. Don't you think if correct, one draft can change the direction? Yes, relaxing music. And I never said, for some reason Chris thinks all of a sudden I'm saying the Raiders are going to be damn Super Bowl contenders, and that's not what I'm saying. They're going to be much improved, and they're going to be on the right trajectory. One draft, no. You have to piece together at least 2 or 3 drafts and do the right things in free agency and not just spend like the madmen. And they're in a really good division, right? Chiefs are there. Broncos had a good year. I don't know whether they're going to stay there. We'll see. The Chargers are well coached. They're good. All 3 of those teams have franchise quarterbacks, so the Raiders have to do the first thing next, right? Get your franchise quarterback. They haven't had one for what? How long? Who was the last Raiders franchise quarterback? Carr? Was Carr the last Raiders franchise quarterback? Is that right? Chris, is that right? Don't you think? Wow. Been a while. DeBoer's going to be the highest paid state employee in all of Alabama. Well, who was drafted to be the franchise quarterback? It was Carr, right? Rich Gannon. You mean true franchise quarterback? Yes, you're right. What's up, Davis? David Smith getting started early. Rich Gannon was the last good one. Carr wasn't terrible, though. Jamarcus Russell. No. You should know, Prometheus, you Raiders guy. You're an Oklahoma State fan? Yeah, go look what you did with your women's basketball program. Not that they didn't bring in a good player, but how do you validate giving Kenny Stabler? The snake, Kenny Stabler. Man, those were the days of the NFL. Wow. The league is just so soft now. So soft. Thanks to Roger Goodell. And owners who don't, maybe some of them do, but for the most part don't love the game. I think the owners that we had back in the heyday when the league was growing to become the national pastime really loved football. They understood it. Now, I'm not sure how many of these owners, it's just another project to them for the most part. They don't pay any attention. How much profit did we make? Cool. What's the new NFL deal that Roger, the guy that we employ, well, how much money? How many more streaming services are we adding? We don't care about the fans. That's a big part of it. Owners who don't have a vision of the league in their best interest. We can expand overseas. We keep giving away home. Games are here in America. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. The first thing I would do is fire Roger Goodell, Vic. The owners should, but the owners aren't going to do that because the profits continue to swell. That's the one change. The fish rots from the head. Players want to play on grass. They won't hear of it, right? They'll ship in grass soccer fields when they're hosting these international games and then pull it out immediately. The players get completely ignored. The NFLPA is one of the weakest player unions that's ever been in professional sports. They have zero say when it becomes something. They should just put their foot in the ground and say, we're not going out there anymore. There's a big thread on X that over 70% of the players want to play on grass. They feel like that their bodies are compromised. They got all these health concerns that they always bring up. But now it's convenient, so let's just play on that stuff. Nobody listens. But this all started when the two teams that are hosting are flying in grass. And going through that effort, but yet not for our employees, not for our players, the backbone of our franchise. We don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. So Mendoza goes tonight. Then defensive guys, we'll see if they transfer over and make a difference. I think you have more depth pieces being drafted in the first round this year. I think after you get through the pick number 15 or so, pick number 15 through pick number 70 is not going to be a whole lot of difference. And the coverage is going to be complete dog crap because it's now all controlled by ESPN. After what the NFL did with the Super Bowl halftime show, I can't watch. I get it. But we'll see. I'll be interested to see the viewership. It's always going to be big on the first night. Of course, they've expanded it out to 3 days. Just one round tonight, rounds 2 and 3 on Friday, then the rest of the draft. They cram in the rest of the draft, 4 through 7 on Saturday. Most of the time, don't even talk about the picks. They're showing some stupid feature, going through some long interview, and the picks just show up. The pick is in, and then they go back and review like 5 or 6 picks. And those parts of the draft are some of the most important parts of the draft. It's not just the guys you take at top. It's the guys who you draft a little bit later on. But yeah, that's what I would do, Vic. I would fire Roger Goodell. Would have done that last week. My choice. Oh, that's a good question. My choice for the next Super Bowl halftime performer. Wow. Now, I've looked at them all. Chris is trying to be confrontational this morning. Bring it. You think I give a damn? I've looked at the entire draft. I've looked at the whole prospect of the draft. It just doesn't interest me. Oh, David can't get hit. Okay, let me see that again, David. Hang on. I don't like it when David Smith has a problem. Let's see here. Yeah, I sent it, David. Let's see. Okay, I sent it again. Let me tell him. Sent again. That could be a camera problem. Let's see here. He's showing me what he's seeing, and I don't understand that. Let's see if he can get in now. Let's see here. Hey, there he is. See? Yep. First time doesn't work. We just keep going. We just do it again and again and again.
Good morning, sir.
How are you?
I'm good, man. Sorry about that. I sent you a screenshot of what I was seeing. So
yeah, I don't know what that was.
Technology is great until it's not. Good to be with you, brother. Good to be happy with you. Draft day.
Happy draft. Well, I guess. Is that happening tonight?
It's what they're saying.
Now, you follow this as closely as anybody, and we talked about this last week. Can you remember a draft with less hype than this one?
Not many, because the sizzle at the top, even the people who do it for a living are actually saying that they're needing to add juice to it. So a lot of that could be, Rick, the fact that there may be fireworks tonight because it's some not trades. A lot of, that seems to be now. Whether that's more, they're just trying to spark this thing up, I don't know. But right now, it could just be one of those drafts that's got top-heavy quarterback situation taken care of by the Raiders, and then on you go. But from that, it's really difficult. But, Rick, it kind of goes back to making you think for a second. We get all excited about the draft, and I do. and because every team tonight feels like this is their shot to get better. This is really, no matter how bad you've been, if the way the draft works, if you've been bad, you get a good pick to try to get good. But as we know, there are so many of these picks that just, they try their best. I'm sure these are hardworking people, spend a lot of hours looking at tape, going to combine, interviewing people, a lot of stuff spent on it. And at the end of the day, you just hope you get it right. You just hope you get it right. And you think about the poor Jets over all these years, they've just screwed it up. And I went back to look, Rick, at the number one picks of all time in the draft. And just think of some of the names of some of these players. And a lot you'll remember, a lot of Hall of Famers, and a lot aren't. You know, I think about, you go back to 1969 was O.J. Simpson, legendary. 1970, Terry Bradshaw, number one overall pick, Louisiana Tech. Jim Plunkett, 1971.
Stanford. Yeah.
Stanford, but for the New England Patriots at the time, Boston Patriots. But
that's right.
That's not where he had his success. He did okay.
No.
It was his second act in the 80s with the Raiders.
That's
got himself
right.
2 rings,
That's
right? You had that. Then in 72, here's one. Walt Patulski. Have no idea who that is. Defensive end, Notre Dame. And look, I was following it at that time. This was when Miami was good. So you think about New England gets the number one pick. Well, to get the number one pick, you had to be pretty bad. You had to be pretty bad. And if you think about New England in the 70s, that was when Miami was starting their run. So they were bad. And then the next year, Walt Patulski, defensive end, Notre Dame, goes to the Buffalo Bills. I'd never heard of him, but Buffalo at that time was OJ and nothing else, but Miami was on their run. And so anybody in the AFC was going to go through it. John Matuzak was next year's pick out of Tampa, goes to the Houston Oilers. But anybody in the AFC wasn't going to go through it. This is the 70s. You had Miami went 3 straight years.
Right. It was
you
over.
had the Steelers went to 2, and then you had the Raiders won theirs. Then you had the Broncos won the AFC. They went against the Cowboys. Then the Steelers went back to 2 more. So that's the 70s. That's the Raiders. That's the Dolphins. That's the Steelers and the Broncos. So, but that's how those picks. And then Ed Too Tall Jones in 1974 out of Tennessee State goes to Dallas. And then you can go on and on. Steve Rykowski, Leroy Selman, Ricky Bell, Earl Campbell, Tom Cousineau out of Ohio State. That's the 70s first round picks. But we'll get back to more current times. And here's some of the names just in the last 20 years. Mario Williams out of NC State, defensive end. Jamarcus Russell, the aforementioned in the chat. What a miss from LSU. Jake Long out of Michigan. Matthew Stafford out of Georgia. Sam Bradford, Cam Newton, Andrew Luck.
Bradford. Forgot about Sam Bradford.
Yeah. So, and I would remind people to, if you ask people walking the street who was last year's number one pick, I'm sure they would shake their head and go, who was last year's number one pick? I'm sure you know, Rick, but maybe because you got a million things going on, it's hard to remember. It was Cam Ward from Tennessee.
Yeah.
And then the year before.
I think it's going to be a great pick. I think that's
great pick. I think Cam Ward, Caleb Williams, Bryce Young, those are the last 3 number one picks. They're all quarterbacks, and all those teams last year, except for Cam, who's going to struggle until he gets some help. Those 2 other guys made the playoffs. Before that, it was Trayvon Walker, the defensive end out of Georgia. He went number 1. And before that, it was Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow, and Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield. So just an idea of the number one picks. Of course, quarterbacks have been the most number one pick position by a long shot, and running backs is second. You have any idea who you think is what position is the 3rd most selected pick when you think about it? Yeah, like by position. So quarterbacks are 1, running backs are 2.
Ever. Wow, that's a good question. I would immediately think offensive tackle. Maybe.
I thought that too. It actually turned out to be defensive end when you start
defensive
thinking about
pass
defensive.
Rushers.
Yeah, so Jadeveon Clowney was one that comes to mind, and so a couple of those. You think about Courtney Brown. Courtney Brown, year 2000, out of Penn State. He came the year before Michael Vick was number one pick.
Yeah.
So and the last receiver to go number 1 was Keyshawn Johnson in 1996. Prior to that, the only other receiver that of most recent memory was Irving Fryer. Out of Nebraska, he went to the Patriots and he went against my Dolphins. He was the number 1 pick the year before Bruce Smith. in 1985. So
who was the lineman the Packers? Was that Tony Mandridge?
Manders, but he actually was the second pick.
He was number 2. Okay.
He was 2. He was 2 that
Remember
year.
when he showed up on Sports Illustrated? The number 1 can't miss offensive line prospect in the history of it.
I mean, the testing was great. It's kind of the whole. What was the guy for Philly? Mike Mamula, I think it was. He was the poster child for combines and what it means and those kinds of things. And so, but again, you see it. I mean, Rick, we all get enamored by the things we think we know. It's interesting. I watch a lot of college basketball. I'm sitting right there beside you for a lot of them, and my wife and I, she played too. So we talk about this all the time. I don't know from time to time how people can recruit. I give them great credit because I've watched high school games for years and years and years. And I remember one time coming up to Mike Jones. I said, Coach, you know way more about this than I do. I said, but there's a couple kids down at the high school that down where we are in Roanoke. I said, I'll give these kids a look. I said, I'm not saying that you need them. I said, but they're great kids. I said, and whatnot. And he in his own sort of way, he was like, hey, I appreciate you letting me know about him, that kind of thing. He says, I'm kind of on it. I got a few things I'm working on. So because I never am that guy. I'm not, because I don't know what I'm doing. Well, as it turned out, he knows a whole lot more about it than we ever do. He had Carleek Jones and Travis Fields in the fold. Point making, Rick, is we think we know, those of us that aren't experts at this, those guys that have keen eyes on this stuff are really, really good at what they do. It's just sometimes the player isn't. The player doesn't do it sometimes. Sometimes you go, I mean,
or the coaching.
Rick, there's that. And then there is this. What you may have been in college, you may not translate to the NFL 100%. Because the structure of college provides you an insular way of being able to be on time and those kinds of things. When you get the freedom of being a professional athlete, are you disciplined enough to do it? I remember hearing someone talk about it on the podcast this week. Reuben Foster, linebacker out of Alabama, was a monster. Yeah. He was just a devastating player. He played for Nick Saban. And so he gets to the NFL, couldn't get it right. Off the field issues, couple injuries here and there. He's only like 32 now, but we haven't seen or heard from him forever. I think he only played in the league maybe 3 full years. He was can't miss in a lot of ways. He was a late round pick, could have been a higher pick. But in college, he was knocking people out metaphorically. He was just all over the place, Rick. But guess what? It didn't translate. And so I don't think it's really anybody's fault, because if you saw him, you go, oh, man, Reuben Foster, he is a can't miss guy. So over the next 3 days, we're going to see a lot of teams that are going to have a whole lot of things going on. And I know there are a lot of good defensive players, right? And I've looked at them. Chris is like, you haven't left it. Well, sure I have, but it's not sexy. This is not something you can sell to get people excited about. Come on, every year they hype the quarterbacks. When it's an offensive heavy draft, boy, they really get in there and push this thing. But this thing, everybody knows after Mendoza's taken, you're going to get a lot of defensive guys who, yes, will be starters and maybe will be all pros. Who knows? But it's not something that people are sitting around. Nope.
You know, your diehard fans will care. Yeah, we got a good guy, but it's not going to be something that ESPN is going to care to market.
No, right? It's not. No, they can't. You cannot make this one very, very interesting. You can't. The only thing you can do is just watch the show tonight. Watch the players and their reaction. If that interests you, maybe at the end of the draft. Yeah, I think I got to know that. I think as much as anything, the thing that you may want to watch is to see if there's movement tonight. Are folks going to move some stuff around? Yeah. Players that you do know, is there going to be some stuff? Is this the A.J. Brown night? A lot of people think it's going to be after the June 1 deadline, which will impact the salary that the Eagles will be responsible for, because it's pretty much a done deal that he's going to go to the Patriots, depending on the reporting, right? So if that happens, fine. But are there other things that's going to be happening that people have waited for the draft for? Because you remember, Rick, free agency started off hot. We were all excited. It was a lot going on. And then
for 3 days. And then
boom, man, like a comet. And then all of a sudden you and I were like, what content are we going to go with today? Everything is quiet.
We were waiting for the whole week, and then it was like, everybody just stopped. Everybody run out of money? What are we doing?
Well, the NFL printing it, so they're going to run out of it. So that tells you that the free agency got hot, and then it kind of settled in, and then you start to look around and say, okay, who's going to extend some players? And then you have the whole Jerry Jones thing, and a little bit of this not happening. And then, Aaron Rodgers, what are you going to do? And that gets boring after a while. And here we are, April 23rd, still no sign of him, whether he's going to come back or not. And and Pittsburgh's culpable in that too. Honestly, Pittsburgh's allowing this to happen, Rick, is not the Steelers this is not Art Rooney and Chuck Noll.
No.
Terry Bradshaw, if you look back, Terry Bradshaw had tons of struggles with Chuck Noll because Chuck Noll did not play. He was not having this kind of mess.
Yeah.
He drew his line in the sand. He didn't care how big or bad you were. You were going to follow. Everybody fell in line, and the team held people accountable too. Right now, you've just got this whole Aaron Rodgers. Now, again, it sounds like to me they know he's going to be there, and he just has said nothing.
He hasn't said a
that's
word.
The only reason I'm not really raking him over the coals too much, because you figure he wouldn't leave McCarthy out there. He likes him. I think if you're Aaron Rodgers, I don't know if I'm defending him or not, you really can't blame him. He's a free agent. He doesn't have to do anything. He doesn't have to say anything. It probably would be respectable to let you know that he's going to play so that the team can move on.
You make a statement, right? Yeah, for the fan base, even those are your investors too.
For the fan base, it's my feeling. It's my feeling that he could care less about that kind of thing, which is the most Aaron Rodgers thing ever. But I get the feeling, don't you? I get the feeling that the team knows that he's going to be part of the mix. He would not leave them like that, in my opinion. But again, this is just one man's voice. Just one man's voice.
And to Tebow's point, too, it's going to be a lot of really good offensive linemen, guys who could be staple in the league. And I know how integral it is, and I know that these guys are good, but it's not something that people are going, yeah, boy. It's just not going to be one of those you see the crowd of Jets fans they always show in the audience, the reaction.
Exactly.
It's just not going to – it just doesn't have that after Mendoza. But let me ask you, because here's my point about the Raiders, and you've watched teams like this a lot. The Raiders are aligning themselves to finally be a successful organization again. It feels like it to me. And not only with the head coaching hire, they're going to bring in your franchise quarterback. You bring in Kirk Cousins. In today's NFL, we see quick turnarounds, right? The Raiders did a lot in free agency too. If most of those are hits, I'm not saying they all will be, but they secured a lot of holes on their roster in free agency because they had the most cap money. How quickly can a team like the Raiders, if their quarterback hits, he's got to be the guy. They haven't had one. You're Kenny's statement cracked me up. That was funny. You're right. You might be right. But how long do you foresee a team like the Raiders? The example I'm giving. Once you finally get that, like Tennessee and Cam Ward, I think they've got their guy. But how long does it take now, do you think, to get back into the flow and be a playoff contender?
Well, I think the model for it that we saw last year, and I had to remind myself of this when I looked through my notes for today, Jacksonville Jaguars. That's kind of the time frame that I see.
Perfect.
Jacksonville, for those of us that have been out of football for 4 months now, let me remind you that they were 13-4 last year. The Jacksonville Jaguars. And of course, what did we start the season saying last year, Rick? Trevor Lawrence has got to step up.
He's got to do it. Right. It's his year. He's got to do it this year. Yeah.
We said it. We like, if he doesn't, because, all right, Doug Peterson, all right, we got him out of there. So you replace him. And you bring in Duval. Okay, so we're going to see what that's all about. Well, guess what? He walked the walk, didn't he?
He did.
He stepped in there, and they won that division. They're 13-4 in the division with the Texans and the Colts. Of course, the Colts had some issues of their own. Once Daniel Jones got hurt, they were gone. But when you think about what I see as a potential model and time frame, Trevor Lawrence has been in the league now, I think, 6 years. Now, that for the Raiders fans, they don't want to hear a 6-year plan. They're not interested in that at all.
No, they're not. They're not.
In terms of being 13-4, you don't have to be 13-4 to be successful. If you're the Raiders, wouldn't you like a winning record this year? Wouldn't you like to? I mean, would that be if you get 9 wins?
Oh my Lord! Yeah,
that would be way. I don't know that they can get 9, but I think the key is to show progress. Win a couple games you shouldn't. You're in the division with some headbangers. Your boys and the Chiefs and the Chargers. It's not easy. Just by default, you've got 6 games that are very difficult, right? So if you're them, I think for them, let's just settle in. I think that the fans there just need to see that you've got a plan, right? Because you had Antonio Pierce came in. It never felt permanent, did it? He did a nice job, but it always, to me, seemed like he was looking over his shoulder, or the franchise was They never really kind of gave him the vote of confidence to make it be good. And he had a night. I think he won 8 or 9 games before he got let go, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but they never had stability. Right now, it looks like they're in a position where they're trying to say, let's just blow this thing up. A lot like Miami is finally deciding to.
Yep.
And I think a lot of times you have to tear it down to the studs. Not all the time.
With a new coach. Like
with
Miami,
with
a new coach.
And new front office, new coach. You just got to say, let's start this thing, tear it down to the studs. And a lot of these coaches come in with these incredible strategic plans. Here's what we're going to do. This is the methodology we're going to use. So if you're the Raiders, Rick, I think there's got to be a level of some patience, but no one wants to see 3-14 this year, because the NFL is you can get better than that. You don't have to be that terrible. You got enough players around and free agents around it. You shouldn't be 3-14. I don't expect you to be 14-3. I feel like if the Raiders can be a 6-7 win team this year, I think next year's jump should be one where they're going to have playoff aspirations. I think that's kind of the model, because very, very few times does a team go from 3-14 to say 11-6 or 12-5, especially in your division. If it was not that division that you're all in, I might feel differently about it.
Well, I think going back, Sean Payton was probably right, because when they drafted Bo Nix, he said, he's going to be our guy. What you want in year one is for him to show not that he will be the franchise quarterback, but that he had the characteristics
that he can,
that he can be. We have to help him get there. And so far it looks like it's worked out, right? And that's what they're hoping for Mendoza. Can he come into this league and start showing, that he can be that guy going forward? That the development that's going to be the most important thing for him, is his development.
And when I think about your Raiders, or the Raiders, not your Raiders, I think about the Titans too, Rick. Same situation. And Cam Ward showed that clearly, I think. Right? Yeah, Cam Ward is a guy, and last year there was very few games that you saw of him, and most of the games of them that you saw were not good. But just like with the Raiders now, they should be on the same path, on the same journey.
Yes.
And that's why with that number 4 pick, boy, you get this great number 4 pick. Who are you going to take? Now, everyone's leaning Jeremiah Love to give Cam Ward another offensive weapon to be able to help relieve some of the pressure that he is just being inundated with in year one. He's got to have pieces around him. I feel like that's the play for them. And because the Cardinals at 3 and because the Jets at 2 are leaning defensive ends, you feel like it's a chance for them to get right on the offensive side of the football. I really feel good about it. And with Robert Saleh, the coach now, you feel like the defensive side of the football is going to be tightened up. You feel really good that they're going to be okay. So now I think Cam Ward's going to be in there with the grown-up. I think Robert Saleh, when you look back at the Jets, what he was able to do with the Jets with all that mess going on was not a bad job. You lose Aaron Rodgers 4 games into the season. So that's out of the mix. The next year, he never looked quite like himself. And so he was out of there. But to me, I think the Titans and the Raiders, there's a lot of symmetry and similarities in how they're building the football team. I think those fans are just going to have to understand that if you're 3-14 one year, you're probably, if you get to 9 the next year, you will take that as an incredible +6 in wins would be incredible if in the NFL, if you can go from one to the other.
Well, do you think the Jets take Reese? Do you think they take – who do you think they take? Bailey? You think they take – I mean, who do you think that – and there's some – this might not be real, but I saw a bunch of stuff going on yesterday. The Cardinals now might be in play for Jeremiah Love. I saw that being –
I saw that too.
And that might just be smoke. None of this really – none of this really is real. But that might be the only interest. And after we get by 3, okay, which good linemen and defensive players are going to go for a while?
Well, to your point, I heard the same thing, that the Cardinals are like, well, maybe we want Jeremiah Love. Maybe that's a play for us, or maybe we'll take him if you can sweeten the pot for us. And
right.
So we maybe we have something you want. And so this is what I think tonight could have some of. It could have some of these things where it's like, well, the Cardinals, you need to take either Reese or Bailey, right? But right now, that's the consensus has been that they're both the defensive players are going to be gone. We don't know which one's going to go 2 or 3. Yeah. I get the feeling the Jets is going to set the table clearly. Whoever they take will leave the other. And so that's kind of where the consensus has been. And if that's the case, then the Titans can get Jeremiah Love. It's those Giants at 5 and now 10 with the trade of Dexter Lawrence, right, to the Bengals.
Yep.
That now has the Giants in position to have 2 picks in the top 10.
Yeah.
Is John Harbaugh is making some noise in New York City, let me tell you, and he's building that team into his personality in a lot of ways. And you know, in the most John Harbaugh way, when Dexter Lawrence talked about wanting a new deal, John Harbaugh did not criticize or ridicule. He said, we're going to do everything we can and see if we can work it out. And then quietly, next thing you know, he's out of there.
We're trading you.
So we're going to do everything we can. But
we tried.
I get the feeling when the door closes, here's your best offer, Chief. How you like this?
We tried, but nah. Yeah, we don't want you. We don't want you.
And listen, and don't think for a second that John Harbaugh's Baltimore Ravens methodology isn't going to work for you. If I'm going to get rid of a player that good, I'm going to get something back in return. And so they're getting the 10th overall pick. They could get so many different ways sweet on this thing. There's talk that they may go wide receiver with the kid from Arizona State. They could go defense. There's Sonny Sykes. There's Caleb Downs, a couple of Ohio State guys. To me, the most, and I think I said earlier, the most intriguing team this year that's going to be super fun to watch. There was, I think, 10 coaching changes. This New York Giants team is going to be fun to watch, Rick. And if you're the Philadelphia Eagles right now, you need to make sure that you get this stuff buttoned up. That's one of the reasons why I think they need to make the A.J. Brown move happen. And when they have their press conference, I think they usually have one next week to talk about the draft. They need to make sure that they are either all in on Jalen Hurts and let everyone know that smoke coming out of Philly's camp is just smoke, because, Rick, there is something smelly in there in Philadelphia, and that team is way too talented to have these kind of issues, because that's the kind of stuff that can undermine great organizations. But Philly has done remarkable in the draft and in free agency. And you don't get these windows too often. They've been to 2 Super Bowls. They won one and didn't make it last year. They're going to have to fix that, because back to the point I was making, the New York Giants are for real. They are no longer an afterthought. And tonight they get 2 picks in the first 10. We're going to see what they do.
No doubt. I mean, it's going to be interesting. And, you have some teams that have made their moves and given up pick. The Rams, again, they just seem to do that, right? And Sean McVay said last week, he goes, we're a Super Bowl contender now. This is way before the draft. They feel so good about what they did and their trajectory. Smart. I like that, to be honest with you. That gives he's not putting any pressure on what picks they have left. They made the big trade, for the coin. I mean, they've done a lot to shore up what they felt like were their weaknesses. And we'll see. It feels like the power has shifted from the AFC to the NFC, doesn't it? It was with the AFC for so long, but now you look at that NFC West, right? And the Lions may be falling a little bit, but the NFC East could get, you just talked about with the Giants, could get very interesting with the Eagles very soon. Now the South, but all of a sudden the AFC, the Bills don't look like they're that team anymore, to be honest. The Patriots aren't going to stay up there. Yeah.
New England showed them that.
The Vrabel mess there. Maybe you guys start improving. The Jets, who knows? The North, are the Ravens going to adapt very well to the new regime? Are the Steelers going to adapt very well without Mike Tomlin? No, they're not. Sorry.
No, they're not.
I know. So the AFC West, but it's kind of, I don't know. It just seems like it's shifted a little bit toward the NFC.
You're not wrong, Rick. And you brought up the fact of the Rams process. They are, and Sean McVay is, for all the things we talk about, everybody wants to be McVay. Well, there's a lot of reasons that people want to try to be like him, because he knows what he's doing. He really does. After he had that, and you brought this up on the show, on the old show, Sean McVay was not invested that 1 year where he thought he was going to get out of it.
He didn't. He wasn't. No.
When he decided to come back, he came back, and boy, everybody was on board. But give him credit for identifying his team. We're a team that is a built-to-win-now team. So we start with Matthew. He calls him Matthew. And from that, everything else is filling in.
Everything else flows, yep.
And we got the defense squared away. But you brought up another point, that the Rams, there are 6 teams that don't have a first-round pick tonight. 6 teams, the Falcons, of course, your Broncos. You're welcome, Jalen. You're welcome. You're welcome, right?
Jalen, let's go, Waddy.
Yeah, the Bengals, of course, the Bengals were 6-11 last year. It's kind of unbelievable that a Joe Burrow-led team, even though he was hurt, was 6-11. You get the feeling, Rick, that this has got to do it for them, right? I mean, the only coach in the division that is not gone is their coach.
No,
the
no.
Broncos, Packers, Colts, and the Jags all don't have first round picks tonight. So when you think about the draft, those are some of the teams that you say, we talk about, what's your strategy and what you're looking to do. Well, those teams try to jump back in there and try to get back and get some of this action. Of course, because you don't have a first round pick, you probably got multiples down the road. You probably got 2 seconds, or you probably got 2/3. In the case of some teams, I think I saw one team has like 3 or 4 in one round, just that they've stacked up. Some of those will probably get moved off the table.
Yeah.
And then you brought up a point about the NFC versus AFC dominance. I'll close on is that's the Kansas City Chiefs for so long was in the Super Bowl
I know
year.
exactly. It's like
and we're sitting here. We've talked for almost 28 minutes now. We have not talked about the Chiefs at all. The Chiefs have the number 9 pick in the draft. How long has it been since the Kansas City Chiefs has been on the first page of the draft? And a lot of times they probably hadn't even had a first round pick. It was at the bottom if they did.
Right. Since they took Mahomes, in the 20s, whatever it was.
Exactly right. Yeah. And so the Chiefs at 6-11 has a number 9 pick overall. So it's a chance for them to get right soon. And so they're sitting there. And of course, the Giants at 10. And then on we go. And so it should be a lot of fun tonight to see how it all plays out. But I'm with you. Not sexy, but it'll be one of those when we talk next week that we'll see who won the draft, who do we think won it, who filled their needs, and really in winning the draft, because there's no pads on yet. All we can go on is projections and say,
that's right.
Did you draft who you thought you needed? Because you got to do that. And then at the end of the day, now you got to develop and put them in position to win.
100%. Well, it'll be interesting. I'm sure you and I will swap some text tonight if something interesting happens.
Keep the phone charged.
Keep the phone charged.
Keep the phone charged. Yeah, we got a lot to go over tonight. Should be a lot of fun, man. We'll get this all in. And then up next for the NFL will be the mini camps. And then I always find this part of it fun, too. The schedule release is always good, too, because who you're playing and when you play them, weather situations, how does it stack up, breaks in between. It's always fun to chop that up. I think that usually happens about mid-May. So coming down the road, we can have some fun with that before the real off season where it gets quiet. Yep.
Absolutely. All right, brother. Great stuff as always.
My man. Appreciate it.
You the man. Good to see you.
Guy. No, you the man.
No, you the man.
All right, bro.
We'll talk to you soon, brother.
Yes, sir.
David Smith. Best NFL analyst you're going to find anywhere. He just is. Good stuff. We'll see how it plays out tonight. Watch. I guess maybe Jeremiah Love will be the trigger if somebody decides, maybe he's going to be so good that they can't help but pass him up if you're Arizona. They need a lot in Arizona. But maybe the trajectory of Cam Ward will give us an indication about Fernando Mendoza. I think Cam Ward's going to be one of the top quarterbacks in the league here in a few years. I really do. Because he's a gifted quarterback, but he knows you hear him talk about the game. He's got a very good mind for defenses and game plan. I don't know. Every time I see an interview with Cam Ward, I get more impressed with him. So maybe Tennessee, that is an offensive lineman. I don't know how they feel about their line. We'll see. Good stuff. Andy Bitter going to join us here momentarily from Tech Sideline. Thanks to all of our sponsors: Sundown Electric, the Ready Set Fund, Professional Door Incorporated, sponsor of our text line, the National Bank, member FDIC, the attorney Ryan Pry, 701 West Main Street in Radford, Trust and Estate Planning, Little River Heating and Air. We're presented by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment, Family Fencing, sponsor of our studio, McClellan Chiropractic, the NRV Super Bowl, and Lawson's Mobile Home Supply. Thanks to all those folks for helping us out here on the program. All right, we segue from one awesome guest to get us started to another. He is the lead writer for Tech Sideline. He's Andy Bitter. What's up, AB? Good morning.
Not much. How you doing?
Did you get up on Saturday and expect to have a parachute get hung up in the video board?
No, I didn't. That was crazy. Most spring games are not memorable. That one's gonna be memorable. I'm gonna remember that one years from now. It's like, do you remember what happened in 2026? Yeah, the parachute game. Of course I do. Crazy thing, and glad everybody's okay, and that you can laugh about it now afterwards, but I don't think people understand sort of how harrowing in the moment that was.
No.
that scoreboard is not attached to the stadium. It's not like a 30-foot drop, because that's what it looked like in the stadium.
Yes.
And that'd be bad. But you go look at it, it's actually a freestanding structure. It's behind the stadium, and it's about 100-foot drop to the ground from the top of that thing. So very fortunate that his canopy, caught onto the scoreboard. I guess it's still there. They got to like pay to remove it and stuff. But yeah, very fortunate there.
Yeah, and it was you, because I told you had a doubleheader to call, and you showed that one shot of what it looked like, the separation and that fall. And man, it would have been horrible, right? I mean, it could have been.
When I went out there, I walked by him. He had his arm in a sling, and he looked a little, worse for wear. But he was walking away at that point. So yeah, I mean, when you see that from that angle, that's why I went out there to take that picture. Because I'm like, I don't think people understand what this thing. And honestly, I'd forgotten how big that gap is and what it looks like. So go out there and see it. I think it kind of puts it in perspective.
Well, and he's been really cool too about his media tour. He's kind of just telling people what he was thinking, and he didn't want to land on people, and maybe he intentionally tried. It's just wild, man. I'm just so glad that he got out of it as okay as he could be, because that would have just been a blow that would have just hovered for the whole season, right? If that would have gone.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, something bad could have happened. They might not have played the game if something bad happened there.
Yeah.
Tech scoreboards are taking a beating because Stanford baseball player put a hole in the baseball one over by the Tech, and then this one the Tech gets taken out. Like I feel like that needs to be like a bit. So like whenever Tech has a scoreboard situation, it's taken. It's like the Spanish announcers table at WrestleMania. Like you always know it's gonna end it's going to end in shards by the end of that thing. So every time they have a scoreboard, like that should be part of the thing. Is like they take out a part of it at every game.
Well, we're glad again he's okay, and the game itself. People have been talking about the tight ends. That was one of the things that stood out, right, with Luke Reynolds. What were some of the things that you really liked about it?
Yeah, I think you can't help but look at the tight ends, and James Franklin's like, well, we did a lot of naked boots, and that's why they went to him a lot. It's like not all of them. And I think early on, especially, I thought Grunkmeyer looked to Reynolds quite a bit. Reynolds made really nice, like one-handed catch over the middle on the second or third play of the game. Moved them up the field, and 3 catches for 47 yards in that first drive. It feels like that's going to be a weapon in this offense, because they got him. They've got Benji Gosnell, who was criminally underused last year. I thought they really did not throw him the ball, and he's a guy that could have had the ball thrown to him. Jerikas Hairston has really grown as a player. You got Harrison St. Germain in that room, who's a senior now, which is kind of hard to believe, but you have some experience, you have some depth in that room. I think it allows you to do a bunch of different things. Luke Reynolds could split out wide as a wide receiver. It wouldn't surprise me if he was their slot receiver or backup slot receiver. Jerikas Harrison's sort of done some H-back stuff before. Both Reynolds and Hairston have been quarterbacks in their past. So I just, with all that, considering Ty Howell is the tight ends coach and the coordinator, I certainly think that they can, come up with some inventive things. That position is going to get some run this year.
Too many questions on the offensive line afterwards? What do you think? I mean, what was your take watching those guys?
It's so hard to tell in the spring game, because they're like, well, how'd they run the ball? It's like, well, they didn't really run the ball. They only did a couple of those. Overton looked good on a couple of runs and got the outside. And is that him or is that the offensive line? They have more guys. There's just more bodies. I mean, last year, the top 2 backups were Brody Meadows and Jaden Muskrat, and neither of them played all season.
Yeah.
Those are supposed to be guys 6 and 7, and they didn't play all season. Montavious Cunningham got hurt after the 4th or 5th game and didn't play the rest of the year. These guys are, Meadows and Cunningham might be starters this year. And then you add on, Logan Howland, Terry Smith, other transfers that come in that group, and then the rest of them mature a year, and you get Kyle Altuner as a year older, Laith Ganem as a year older, Lucas Austin, Aiden Lynch, all these guys a year older. I think that matters. So coming back, it's an older group. It's a deeper group. I don't know how much better it is because I don't know who's going to fit where. But I think this season, if somebody is not performing to the caliber they need to be, there's another option you can put in on the bench or another guy you can try. Whereas last year they were just holding on for dear life.
Yeah.
And they had 5 guys and go, well, we're going to have to play them in some kind of order because this is who we have and this is we're going to have to play.
And even though they didn't have a full allotment, you feel good about the running backs, what you saw? I mean, obviously, Overton seems like he's going to be something special, I think.
Yeah, I'm not concerned about the running backs at all because I think Hawkins, you look at the kind of season he had last year, 6.35 yards per carry. That was the highest of anybody in the ACC with 100 carries. Pretty good. And then, Overton. And Overton looks bigger, and he still looks fast. I mean, it was 11 yards, 12 yards, 19 yards on a pass. In succession. It's like, all right, get him out of the game. Don't need him anymore. I mean, that's it. I mean, that's all you need to see. And I think he's going to be very good. If that's your 1-2 punch, and then, can they bring Bill Davis along? Can they bring Messiah Mickens along behind that? I think they're okay there.
What about concerns? What about some things other than the depth on the offensive line? Maybe more guys they can put in there. But what about defensively? Was there something that stood out that you're kind of, okay, that needs to be better, once they get going again?
It's not a position group necessarily. It's just, you look at, who's your stars? And I think Kamari Copeland, Jaquez White probably have the highest potential for that. Copeland, certainly. I mean, coming off the year he had previously. Who else, scares you on that defense? And I think there's some guys that have potential, like Nathan Stevens or Javian Hilson. I like Noah Chambers going through his second year. Caleb Spencer's a very solid guy. Do you have all ACC type guys that can step up? And you don't need a defense full of them, but you need some. And I just don't quite know who those guys are on this defense. That might just be because they haven't had a chance to show it yet. There's so many new faces. And again, I think it's a deeper group on defense. There's more guys that they can roll in the game. But, I look especially at defensive end. And there's a lot of guys. I just don't know who it's going to be. Asen Stevens and Malachi Williams as starters, probably. Maybe. Javian Hilson's behind him. He's a redshirt freshman. Hasn't really done it on the field yet. So just a lot of guys that are new that I don't know exactly how they're going to fit in or who's going to start or what's going to be the biggest playing time. And I don't look at that as a concern because somebody will step up and emerge and play. Somebody has to play.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Leave a vacant spot out there, but I just don't know how well they could play, relative to maybe some of these past defenses.
I know you put together the depth chart. Was that the toughest thing, like you're just saying, on defense, trying to find guys that you felt like may end up being the guys who start out against VMI?
Yeah, because you're trying to project. You're not just trying to go, here's what I saw at the spring game.
Yeah.
So defensive end is, Asen Stevens, Malachi Williams, Javian Hilson, like I mentioned, but that's like Jason Abbey. Okunlola didn't even play in the spring game. I don't know what's going on with him. Cortez Harris, Derek Dandy. I mean, I've listed 7 names, and I can't even really name the top 4 in that group. I think cornerback's the same way, but in a more positive way because you have better depth. Jaquez White, IBM, Josh Clark, I think probably the top 3. And if I were doing starters with a nickel, that's probably the 3 that I put out there with IBM in the slot. But then it's, Kenny Wosley, Cam Chadwick, Thomas Williams was hurt. Amari Polidor looked pretty good at times. He says kind of had some freshman moments too, but he makes plays out there. JoJo Krim didn't practice all spring. He looked pretty good last year. Is he going to play this year? Is he going to redshirt? I don't know. So I think there's just a lot of questions they have to sort out before the season starts. And hey, better to have some options than to not. Because last year, once Caleb Brown got hurt, once Dante Lovett transferred, you're just playing with 2 guys basically all season, hoping nobody gets hurt and you can get through the season.
How'd it go with the penalties? I hadn't asked that yet. I know, he's been very, very strict about penalties. How did that go with the offensive line and false starts and things like that?
I don't remember a whole lot. There was a holding penalty that got something called back, but I don't know. I'm trying to compare that to previous spring games. I don't think that's indicative of too much necessarily.
Well, it all sounds pretty positive, though. What was the size of the crowd in your best guess? Everybody's throwing around all these numbers. Some are ludicrously high. Some have been way too low. What do you think is a good settling point?
I'd say high 30s. If you told me 40, I'd buy it. People always like, oh man, the East stands were half full. It's like, well, they're not sitting side by side, right? Like,
well, that's true.
During the season, you're packed in there like sardines, and they weren't like that. So if it was high 30s, I'd say that was probably about right. That's a good crowd. And then people get on my case like, he said it was the biggest ever. It's like, well, they announced 44-7 in Fuente's first year, which is a number I don't believe either. But
right.
To say definitively it was the biggest ever, I don't know about that. But it was one of the biggest ever, and that's an accomplishment. It was a really good crowd. They got to see one of the most bizarre events they'll ever see in their life. A guy crashing into the scoreboard on a parachute, and a fairly entertained that they had that they had out there.
Well, and did you sense the excitement? What interaction you had? Could you just tell everybody wanted to see what this is going to look like under James Franklin? Did you get that vibe as well from the crowd? I know that kind of made people wait a little bit, and they may have been distracted about the gentleman's safety. But I mean, did you get that vibe? People coming in the stadium?
Yeah, I think so. I think there is never a greater time to be a fan of a sports team. And believe me, I'm a fan of Minnesota sports, so I've seen these lulls quite a few times in my life. I think that the best time to be a fan is when you just come out of that awful period and you first start to show signs of competitiveness. And if you go from 3-9 to even 6-6 or 7-5, which is kind of the range I have them in next year, I think a lot of people are projecting higher than that. I'm kind of in that 7-5 range just because of the schedule. But just getting that first sense of competitiveness again is such a great feeling for fans. Like it's like you're coming out of the dark, or you're opening your eyes and rubbing the crud out of your eyes if you wake up or something like it's just. It's the best time to be a fan of a team. And I think a lot of people around this program feel that way. They feel like, hey, they finally put the pieces in place. The results are going to come. If you invest like this and you have James Franklin as your head coach, I don't really know how it won't work. I mean, something catastrophic, I think, has to happen for it not to work. Or no, I don't know if that means winning 10 games every season again, but I think it's going to be a program that's certainly not going to go 3-9 again.
No.
So yeah, I think there is some excitement around the fan base, and people want to see what they're doing to get this thing turned around.
And the league has given us enough proof to where Tech can rise to the top and contend again fairly quickly, right? I mean, look at last year. I didn't see either one of those teams playing one another in the championship.
Right. Game. I mean, it can be such a quick turnaround now, and. Indiana won the national championship last year. It was the losingest program in college football history as of a couple years ago. I think Northwestern is now the worst, and Indiana passed them because they've won the national championship.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
14-0. That will turn around your win percentage as a program. So just kind of shows you that the walls that were holding a lot of programs back, they're not there. Like the excuse can't be there now.
Right.
But we can't do it at X school. Indiana did it. You can do it. You just have to be better at your job. And I feel like so many excuses went out the door for head coaches where it's like, well, we just can't do it here because we don't have the resources. It's going to take time to do it. It's like Indiana, historically has not had the resources to do that. I know they're better at it now, but that kind of shows what you can do with NIL and the transfer portal. And, it's going to take time. I mean, Cignetti went to the playoff in his first year and won the national championship in his second year. There wasn't a ramp up period where it's like we went 6-6, then we went 8-4, then we went 10-2. And that's unusual. Yeah. I'm not going to say that's not usual, but it has crumbled all the, excuses that coaches seem to trot out about why they're not succeeding at their place.
Yeah. And you just said it, and I've been talking about this all week. Do your jobs. Everybody more. We got to have more money. We're not winning because we don't have enough money. No, let's stop. How about the people you hire? How about them actually doing what you're paying? Heck, they just paid Kalen DeBoer over $14 million a year. I mean, just win.
That's so ridiculous to me.
What are we doing?
And yet these are still the people that will complain about the players getting
exactly. Money laundering schemes, what I was told from someone high up. Money laundering scheme. Well, anyway. How much fun? Till was telling us you guys get a good time ranking the coaches in the ACC, the football coaches.
Yeah, it's tough. It's always tough with those exercises because it's like, how do you rank them? Is it ranked on career accomplishments? Is it ranked on how they're doing now? Is it ranked on relative to the program they're doing? It's like, who had more success, Mario Cristobal or Dave Clawson? It's like, well, who had a tougher programs? And Cristobal's coached at Oregon and now Miami, and Clawson, I'm using him as a past example. He's not there now, but his jobs were like Bowling Green and Richmond and Wake Forest. Like, there's a difference in the kind of program that you take over and the type of coach you are to handle that stuff. But we had Dabo up there, obviously, even though I think he slipped a bit recently. I had to have Cristobal up there, even though I don't think he's a great coach. I think he runs a great program and knows how to run a big program.
Yeah.
Like, he goes to places that have resources to recruit, and he knows how to recruit. And then if he could just get out of the way on game day and just let his assistants coach, I think they would do a lot better. Who else do we have up there? Rhett Lashley, who actually has the second best winning percentage of a head coach in the ACC right now, I think. Small sample size, but he's won in its first couple years at SMU like this. And then I put Franklin in that group at the top. And I know, not coming off a banner year at Penn State, but you look at his career accomplishments. I think you have to have him in that conversation. He won at Vanderbilt when it was like not cool to win.
Yeah, right.
I put him among that group. And then, there's some other guys that I think are really good coaches that I have to see more. Like, Jake Dickert went 9-3 last year, I think, at Wake Forest his first year. And I picked them last in the ACC, like, shows what I know about football. But, you have to give him credit for going there and winning. Like, Wake Forest, again, not a ready-made situation. He went in there and he won games right away. Those are the kind of coaching jobs I look at. I go, that's really impressive. What could he do at a place that has, more resources than Wake Forest has?
And how did you handle Belichick? I mean, you have to base it on.
Yeah, I don't even really think of the NFL. I just I see what he's done in college. I don't have a lot of faith that this year is going to be a whole lot better. And again, might be wrong. You entirely could be wrong and have been wrong many times before, but I just don't. These NFL guys that come to college are like, we're going to do it NFL style. They've never seen anything like this with a general manager. It's like, everybody has general managers now. What are you talking about?
That's right. Yeah.
They've been doing that for years. This isn't some sort of novelty that you're bringing to college level. And, this guy who's never recruited in his life and has not had to relate to, college age kids other than his girlfriend for a whole lot of time. It's just,
That's right.
It does not feel like a recipe for success down there. We'll see. Maybe he proves me wrong. Maybe you have that sort of lead up season and they get something going, but I'm not optimistic.
Well, finally, if we let you go, how much fun was it to have Bud Foster in your classroom? That was cool. Those are some cool.
That was cool. Bud was so gracious with his time. I wanted to try to do it in the fall, and he had that NDA for a while. So I'm like, well, I can't contact Bud when he's got this NDA. Like, he's just not going to want to do it, especially when he get up in the class. What do you think that everybody's going to ask him in the class? It's going to be questions about the coaching search. And of course he can't answer anything. So I asked him at Franklin's press conference, and the timing he said yes, but the timing didn't work out. Only had a couple classes left in that semester. So I came back to it this semester, and he agreed to it. And then I'm like, I can't have Bud come to my classroom. First of all, I'm in like a bad building this year. It's McBride. So it's one of the worst, not as great of a classroom as I've had in the past. And so I can't have him come in there and talk. And then I'm like, I I don't want my students to be on like their home turf either, right? I want them to be in a place that makes them feel a little bit more uncomfortable, treat it like a real press conference. So I went to Virginia Tech and I asked them, like, can we do this in Merriman? And, you know, part of it's like, yeah, I don't want Bud to have to walk so far. And like, could Bud just come to Merriman and do it? They set it up, and we did in the team meeting room where we do the press conferences for football. I had a microphone that I, you know, passed around to people. And
that's great.
I understand the frustrations now of the moderator having to get to everybody in the room. It's like, I'll get to you. Hold on. Quit giving me the side eye on this. I'll get to you.
That's right.
So I'm like, newfound appreciation. Newfound appreciation for that role. I'm not going to roll my eyes at anybody now because I know how the feeling is now. And yeah, Bud talked. It was an hour and a half. I mean, he talked. First of all, Bud is not short with his answers.
No.
Second of all, he gave great answers. I thought the questions were really good in the class. It made me proud as an adjunct professor that the students took it seriously and asked great questions. And I thought it was a great exercise. I thought it was a win-win-win. So
that's cool.
You know, kudos to Virginia Tech for setting that up for me, and many, many thanks to Bud for doing it. I hope the students get a kick out of it.
No, I'm sure they did. And finally, what's your Viking? How's your draft going to look tonight, Vikings guy?
I don't know. I mean, I root for a franchise that missed its pick twice. I think they've done that twice now, where their pick came up and they're just like, we're not going to make it. And then somebody else rushed up behind them and made another pick, and they ended up picking 2 spots later. And it's like, what are you doing as a franchise? And they just fired the GM, so who knows? Who knows how? But yeah, I'll be watching. You know, see what kind of crazy thing happens tonight at the draft. I don't know if it will. It's not as ludicrous as that movie Draft Day, which is a terrible. It's a terrible movie, but somehow rewatchable. I don't know what it is about it. I'm just watching it. It's like, this doesn't really happen. They wouldn't make a trade like that.
I know.
But yeah, I watch it anyway.
It's so funny. I was just having that conversation with somebody last week about how it's not good in any way, shape, or form. But boy, when they get in there on draft day and he's maneuvering, boy, you're like,
it's such propaganda. And like in hindsight, people like point out, it's like he just took like an off-ball linebacker at number 1 in the draft. Like, what are you doing? You would get absolutely pilloried. Also, like they make it out like he won the draft at the end.
I know.
It's like, why? You don't, because they didn't go to Bo Calloway's birthday party. Like, you might have passed on a Hall of Fame quarterback for all you know. Nobody knows anything on draft day. They act like they won the draft. Seattle might have won that draft by getting Bo Calloway at number 6. I think somebody's like, oh, it's you took an off-ball line. I saw this on Twitter. Somebody said, oh, you took an off-ball linebacker at number 1, and the Seahawks got a quarterback who nobody came to his birthday party. It's like, oh, so Aaron Rodgers, that's who they got at number 6. I think they'll take that over a guy that's not going to be that good. So, yeah, like I said, the movie infuriates me to watch it, but I watch it anyway, obviously.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, take whatever that kid's name was at linebacker, no matter what. Number 1, no matter what.
Yeah, what was it? What was his name? Man, I'm getting old. I can't remember all these names.
Yeah, I can't think of his name, but yeah. All right, brother. Good stuff as always, man. We'll see what all develops next week, but that's good. That's good.
All right. Sounds good.
Take care, AB. All right.
Okay.
There you go. Andy Bitter joining us on the program. Take that back, Andy. Draft day is a great one. All right, good stuff. We're going to talk to Alex Aguirre, talk some Radford baseball coming up. Then Dwight Vick, he's going to have some different takes on this whole spring game situation. You don't want to miss that. What's going on, Harold? Harold says, I think 6-7 wins too low for Virginia Tech. What do you think? Well, it's early for me, Harold. I want to see. I want to see what everybody else is doing, but I have no problem saying that I wouldn't be a bit surprised if Tech won 9 games. I mean, I just look at the league itself. I don't see Miami all of a sudden just showing up one year and all of a sudden Miami's going to be a fixture. They haven't been for how long now? They haven't been since they joined the ACC. I don't know Florida State. I don't think they have the right head coach. I think Mike Norvell was kept because everything else that was going on, the buyout money. By the way, what's up, Morris? I saw your intro. We had it during interviews. By the way, you were late, young man. You were late, young man. So we just talked about coaching, right? Jeff Brom is a good coach, so Louisville's going to be good. I think Manny Diaz is settling in to be a good head coach. You already know James Franklin's history, so you got the quarterback. I think if the offensive, I'll preface it by saying, as the offensive line develops, because I think they'll be capable on defense. I think they'll make enough plays and be okay. I think. We'll see. Skill players, I think, are going to be fine, but how does that offensive line come together? And if that comes together, why couldn't Tech win 9 games? Right? I mean, I think they could. Maybe they won't. Maybe I'll be completely and utterly wrong. But I get asked a question, I give you an answer. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I don't care. I'm giving you an honest answer. Honesty is more important than being correct all the time. No respect for us old guys. Planting sod is not easy. Oh, is that what it was? Okay, I missed your other post, Morris. Softball and free fall need to turn around 3 losses. Did they lose their midweek? Oh, man. Vontae Mack, Andy says. Thanks, Andy. Yeah, Vontae Mack, no matter what. Bo Callahan. He said Callaway, he said. I don't think I caught that. Bo Callahan. I think Bo Callahan's a bust. They didn't go to his birthday party. He's a bust. Terrible movie. But, boy, I watch it. Because I love that whole Who needs sod in Palm Coast? You don't have to boast in. Let's put that one out there, Vic, for the crowd here in chat. Who's your choice for the next Super Bowl halftime performer? I feel like it needs to be a unifier. NFL's worked way too hard. Who produces the NFL halftimes now? Is that Jay-Z? They haven't had a good one in a long time. They need a what did you say, Wayne? Did I miss it? I'm sorry. We had David and Andy on. Let me backtrack here. Oh, I can't find it. Just tell me again. I can't find it. Metallica. It needs to be a unifier, though. That last year was just very intentional by the NFL. Sammy and Wolfie, David Lee Roth could come in. Ooh, I don't know. Been seeing some of his live performances recently. He sings like an old man who gets caught out in his underwear in the snow in the winter. I don't know who that would be. I don't know. It's a good question, Vic. The league, I don't know if have they already announced for next year? I don't even know. I don't watch it anyway, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, Sammy's still, yeah, I noticed that too. I did see Sammy can still, yeah. Much better vocalist than David Lee, no question. No question. Back off, T-Bird. We have issues in Florida. You just don't know about it. Morris planting sod in Florida? That sounds a little sketchy to me, Morris. Not the VT skydiver. Correct, Vic. Yeah, he won't be part of it. But you see, you can laugh now because he's okay. I don't know. That's a great question, though. That's one I'd have to think about. I don't know. I don't know. The league won't care. They're going to just bring somebody in that, yeah. The halftime show hasn't been a thing for a long time. Prince is the greatest halftime show ever. You can try to counter that, and you're wrong. You're just wrong. Joining us now on the program, he's the head baseball coach of the Radford University Highlanders, who are turning it on. He is Alex Square. What's up, AG? Good morning, brother. Oh, I caught him in mid-drink. Bad. Sorry.
Morning,
What's up, AG? Good morning.
Sorry.
How are you, man?
How you doing?
Oh, you're good.
I'm
You're
good. I'm good.
Doing good. Well, let's talk about the highs. You guys playing well. Big series win this past weekend. And my, oh my, it's my kind of game. When I am watching a guy just mow guys down left and right and just be in command, that to me is the quintessential baseball. What a terrific performance you guys had on Sunday. And then it led in, I think momentum carried you down to Davidson during the week.
Yeah, 100%. The weekend was awesome. Gardner Webb could really swing it. They had some real physical kids, guys that took some really good at bats.
Yeah,
they were a challenge. 1 through 9, and I would argue that they were probably the most complete offense.
Agreed. Yeah,
guards 1 through 9
yeah.
in our conference. Like a lot of times with most lineups, you get to that, you get past the 5 spot, and then you've got guys that can do a little bit of everything, right? Like the 6-hole guy might have some power, 7-hole guy might have some power. The bottom 3 of the lineup might be able to play the short game and run and do some different things. I mean, them 1 through 9, I thought were extremely complete hitters. The 6-hole guy killed us all weekend, the Repepi kid.
Yeah.
But Raymond, I thought showed tremendous toughness.
He did,
starting out on Friday night. We got punched in the face with a 3 spot, and he just showed tremendous composure and poise. The ability for him to kind of lock in and. One of those moments where as a pitcher, you just say, like, I got this. I'm gonna step up for our team and I'm gonna make sure that we're in a good spot to be able to win this game. I think our offense fed off of that. We came back, we had bases loaded. I think it was in the 4th. Nobody out, we don't score. We come right back the next inning with bases loaded again and no outs, and we ended up with a 4 spot. And we had some stuff going on every single inning. Saturday was a slugfest.
Yeah.
Our pitchers were challenged by CB. After the game, I think when you look at our pitching staff, and if you've watched them compete all year, you'd be in total agreement that that was an unacceptable performance. For us to come in there and not have multiple pitches, not being able to execute, being behind in counts, and they were challenged and they stepped up in these last 2 games, starting with Daniel Quintana on Sunday, which I know is a Rick Watson. That's like you couldn't tee up a better Rick Watson game on a Sunday too.
On a Sunday,
what was it like? Did we get under 2 hours?
No, it was like
were we under 2?
For a while there, we were.
That game was so quick. We were even able to get a post-game interview.
I know, right? We were like, let's get him real quick. But it shows, and you and I have talked about this. Baseball does not transfer the next day because what he did, a lineup that scored 15 runs, and then the next day, nothing.
This game is so messed up. It's so messed up. Like we have the worst pitching performance of the entire year, and give up a 15 piece on Saturday. And then you come out the next day and you throw a 2 or 3 hit shutout. I mean, how good has Trey Ludy been as well? I mean,
Trey Ludy.
It's crazy. Every time we talk in the huddle after the game, I'm done talking and I'm like, shoot, I forgot to mention Trey. And it's the same situation. Like, this kid has been unbelievable for us. Unbelievable. I mean, he's got ice water in his veins. I legitimately think he could pitch every single day if you asked him to.
He would too. He would take the
ball. And he would.
He would.
but the toughness he's shown, and I agree. I think it's kind of it's transferred into Tuesday. I think Mason Self has done a tremendous job. I mean, he's quietly become
Yeah,
one
he
of our
really
go-to
has.
guys.
Yeah.
I mean, I was watching his film from Davidson. I mean, his slider, his off-speed stuff is just, I mean, it's tremendous. He's done, he's added some real quality innings for us out of the pen. Mason Hatcher and, oh my goodness, Josh Melville. And these guys on Tuesday, Hunter Howard, and some of those young guys, Bake and Parker Noonan. Corey Costello has been out. Corey Costello and Andrew Steinhaus have been one of the real bright spots of our pitching staff, and I think they've shown tremendous resilience, toughness, overcoming adversity. They've been great team guys. When you get pulled from your starting role, that's a huge gut shot.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a big ego check. And when you have the ability to just, were they pissed? Yeah, of course. As competitors, of course you're pissed. But talk about just selfless, great teammates. I'm so proud of those two guys because that's not an easy thing to go through, especially when they work as hard as they do and they invest as much as they do into this thing and into their craft. And two guys that I think have pro potential and pro futures. And when you're making those decisions, it's not easy. Because it become, when you're making it based off of just like, the performance and what you feel like the team needs. And it's not easy when it's two guys that, are that invested in their own craft and work their butt off and just are not seeing the results, but have great processes. But they've responded wonderfully and they've been a huge, huge piece to our bullpen.
Well, yeah, when Trey's giving me those vibes, I mean, I don't know what name you would compare him to. I mean, I know Zach Ridgely turned into a great starter. You've had so many guys. The two championship teams had great guys at the end of those games. But that's the vibe I get now. When I see Trey coming in, I know Radford's ahead late, and they're going to end up staying ahead when that third out's made in the ninth inning. It just feels like every time I see him now, because of the way he's throwing, okay, well, this thing's done.
Yeah. Well, we had that similar feeling back in I believe it was 2015 with Mr. Ryan Meisinger.
Yeah, with Mice, yeah.
I don't know if we're there just yet. I don't
Yeah.
want to be – Ryan Meisinger was pretty elite. So
yeah, he was.
I don't
– he's getting there.
But Trey's getting there. Trey's getting there, and I think I feel good. I mean, we're bringing him in the brought him in the fourth inning against Upstate?
Yeah.
Any critical moment, we're going to Trey. And
Yeah.
it's such a good feeling to be able to have that. And we've got multiple guys that can do that. But I think that's a huge advantage for where we're at in managing our team. And when you have those guys that you can go to, it makes decisions a lot easier.
Hey, here's a good question from Wayne. And I think you're going to have to be faced with this because I think the Highlanders are going to make a lot of noise in the tournament. How do you manage pitching innings going into the tournament? Do you change anything, or do you just let younger arms go out there? Like, you've already clinched your spot. Are you trying to worry about seeding? Are you thinking ahead already? It is tough, folks. College baseball coaches have a dilemma once we get into tournament play. It's difficult for you guys. I know it is. I know Joe used to talk about that all the time. You gotta think about it the first game and get that first win. But what about day 2, 3? As you move forward.
No, that's a great question, and I think with the way that the tournament is, everything's kind of so. The last weekend of the year is Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Got Sunday off, Monday off. I believe Tuesday's a practice day, and then Wednesday starts. So basically, everybody. If you're going off of the same rotation, everybody's going to kind of be, moved up a day. In Raymond's case, that's going to be something that we're going to have to talk extensively about. You got a kid that's, again, a pro guy, huge future ahead of him. Coming off of Tommy John, I mean, do you push him up a day? I mean, a lot of that depends on how he's feeling. I think a lot of it also depends upon the seeding, kind of where we're at going into that last weekend.
Yeah.
If it's a big difference between us being in third or sixth, or us potentially getting
That's
into the
right.
top two. I don't know. The only two teams that we haven't won the series against are Winthrop and High Point, and they're 1-2. We're going to be able to catch them at this point. I don't know. I mean, it's crazy. I don't really worry about this. I don't even know.
I know you don't care about.
I don't even know where we're at standing.
I know. I don't either. It's like
I'm dead serious because
just get in. Yeah.
I just focus on what's in front of us. I try to really, really be present because it's just I don't want to go down a rabbit hole of trying to do all of these what if games in my head right now. I'm coaching desperately against Presbyterian. That's what I would tell you.
Yeah, it's all about.
There's so many factors that go into this, right? So, but that's a great question, Wayne. I do think a lot of it is going to be determined upon where we're at, where guys are going to be going into the going in that last weekend, kind of what it looks like, and then at the same time, you don't want to take guys out of their rhythm, too.
Sure. Yeah.
And I do think we have depth to be able to make certain decisions and not lose a beat. You know what I'm saying? And still be able to put ourselves in a position to win no matter where we're at, no matter who's on the mound.
Well, speaking of Presby, I know their overall record is pretty bad, but you get in league play, and Elton's got them, playing as well as they've played all year, and you've known him a long time. He's a savvy veteran guy. He gets the most out of that team, and I don't care what the record is. You go down to Clinton, it's never an easy thing. It's never an easy series, is it?
Never. 100%. I think they're the best 9-31, 9-33 team in the country.
Yeah.
They play hard.
They do. They always do. Yeah.
Coach P does an unbelievable job with his program, with his team, and developing those players. They play really well at home. They always have. They're a challenge. They're going to be a handful. I truly believe that we better be locked in. Last year we had a similar situation, not as it was in the last weekend of the year. We had an opportunity to really kind of make some noise and really do some things. And we went to Longwood, and obviously, with all due respect to Longwood at the time, I felt like we should not have gotten swept, put it that way.
Right.
But we have to take it one game at a time. They got a bunch of hitters that are very, very aggressive. If you throw them a strike, like they're swinging, you could have them off balance at times, but you're also going to have to maybe deal with you throw changeup and you hang it a little bit and boom, they bang it for a double. Maybe they're not sitting on the changeup, but they're just up there. They're very aggressive. They do stuff on the bases. They'll drag, they'll push, they'll sack, they'll delay steal, they'll double steal, they'll do a first and second hit and run. They'll do some exotic things, in the pick game. Second and third, they'll back pick at second. First and second, they'll back pick at first. So we've got to be able to make sure that we're handling situational baseball. We cannot do any dumb you-know-what. I think if you watched our team, and there are certain moments in the game where you just want to close your eyes, grab your hair, and scream because this team is extremely talented, our team. And if we do not do anything that's going to beat us, I think we can put ourselves in a great position to beat anybody.
Yeah, agreed.
Now you're going to have those games in baseball, against Virginia Tech last week. I don't know. It is what it is, man. We just had a tough day.
Yeah.
Davidson on Tuesday on the complete, a week later. That's what a week later.
Complete opposite. Yeah.
We couldn't miss a barrel. It was as if we were taking batting practice. So sometimes it's just the game. Sometimes it's just it is what it is. It's just one of those nights. Hopefully we can continue that momentum. But tremendous amount of respect for Coach Pollock. I mean, he started out being a head coach when I was a player here. He's been a great mentor for me, a great resource for us in the league. He's arguably the most respected guy in the league. So I know his team's going to be extremely prepared, and and we need to make sure that we match that as well. So, huge weekend for us, and I feel good about where we're at and the mindset and the aura of our team. I think you're starting to see another notch of maturity of this group.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think you're starting to feel another notch of looseness and them starting to feel themselves a little bit, but also at the same time understand like complacency is real and we're not going to take this thing for granted whatsoever. That was the one really good thing I was proud of the guys of on Tuesday. It was 11-2 after the third or fourth. And we kept going. Like we started the game with a 7 spot. We ended the game with a 7 spot.
Right.
I thought that was real indicative of the mindset of their ability to compete for all 9 innings, regardless of the score. So, we're going to go down there. We're going to let it rip and see what happens.
Well, and just watching last weekend and then talking to the guys at the awards bank, I don't know how else to say this. Everything they've gone through, it feels like now they're settling back into the baseball season. Does that make any sense?
Yeah,
like
100%.
I mean, it's always going to be there, but I'm just saying now they seem to be okay. Now we're back in now that we're ready to make a run at this thing. It just feels like that now. So
I agree with that. I mean, there was the obvious. Obviously, I think it'll never. I know for me personally, it'll never leave me ever.
No.
And I think for a lot of guys,
correct. Yeah, ever.
I think for all of them, it'll always be there. I think in different moments. But I think it was
sure.
I don't think I really understood the gravity of how much it was going to be on their minds after everything that initially happened with Joey. I think there was a gray cloud of just heaviness.
Yeah.
That we just had to work through. I mean, it is what it is. Everybody did. I think you saw that initially for those first couple of weeks after. And I think slowly but surely, we had these roller coaster moments. And, but I feel like we're kind of settling in on the baseball side of things. And, I agree with you. I agree with what you're saying. 100%.
Yeah, I still think the best baseball is yet to come for these guys. So I'm excited.
I agree. 100%.
Well, when you guys heading out? You heading out later today? You're going to go tomorrow morning? When are you guys
leave
heading
today?
Out? Leave today. Okay.
We leave today at 12. We're going to go down there and practice. We're actually going to practice at a high school because we're staying in Simpsonville.
Okay. Yeah, not a lot of spots in Clinton.
Yeah, so we wouldn't be able to get on the field till later on tonight. And you know what? At the same time, I want to. I'm not comparing their field to a high school field by any means, but I think if we can start preparing our mind to understand the surface that we're going to be playing on, and challenge them a little bit in regards to not worrying about anything that they can't control, and plus it's 5 minutes from our hotel as well.
No,
as opposed to driving 30 minutes to Clinton, practicing at 7, getting done at 9:15, 9:30, driving back 30 minutes at 10 o'clock, eating.
Gotta eat, yeah.
And listen, the Jets have the 2nd and 13th overall pick, so at 8 o'clock, I can promise you this: my ass is going to be on that phone, on the bus. We're going to be doing that. So we're going to get our work in, but I will watch who the Jets will be.
Is it time now for your Jets? We had a Jets discussion earlier, David. What do you think? Is this it now?
And our team will be watching it together. We'll have a little team bonding meal as well, and they can watch me react positively or negatively based off of who the Jets will pick. Listen, part of being a New York Jet fan, I will tell you this, it is the chase of expectation. Every year is a new year. I would say by October, I'll hate them again. So I don't know. But right now, I'm really excited.
Good. Yeah. Be excited tonight and put away the fact Geno Smith's your quarterback from 2026.
Oh, God.
Sorry.
I forgot about that. Oh, my God.
Had to.
Shoot. So, yeah, That's what we'll be doing tonight.
Well, safe travels, brother. Best of luck,
Thanks,
man.
Rick.
We
Appreciate
pull
it, man.
for you, and we'll see what
All right,
we
buddy.
look at going into next week. All right, man. Take care of yourself.
See ya.
There you go. Alex Square, Jets fan here on the program. Wow, 2nd and 13th. We'll see what happens there with this Jets, Jets. Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, those guys. And by the way, I do appreciate everybody keeps asking about those guys. Those guys are doing really well. Great dudes, man. I took the time to try to talk to as many of them as I could the other night at the awards banquet. Those guys they're unified. They're starting to turn it. You know, you can just kind of see it. They went down, like AG said, they made short work of Davidson. I mean, that thing was over with in the first inning. I mean, and then, like you said, you keep building, you don't stop. So you get to the run rule, you get home, you know, a little early. You've earned that. So that's big, man. That's big. Dwight Vick's going to come up here in just a little bit, and we'll get his take on all these things. Hello, Patty. Hello, fun people. I don't have any idea what you're doing. Hey, good to see you, Patty. The NFL could redeem itself by having the Rolling Stones. Could the Stones pull it off now? Are they too old? Oh, I like that, Wayne. New edition. I kind of like that. That's pretty good, man. That's a good call. I'm going to get Creed up. That's not a bad call. New edition. All right, back. It's already warm, so he's fired up and ready to go. He's on the hunt. Hey, welcome, Patty. Welcome, even though you don't know what the hell we're talking about. Welcome. Oh, here we go now. There we go on our professional door text line. Now I'm getting called a homer because I said Tech could win 9 games, and here, see. You can't please all the people all the time. How's that being a homer? Right? Somebody asked. I just said I would not be a bit surprised if at the end of the year I didn't go to Tech. I don't have season ticket holders. How am I being a homer? I'm trying to answer you honestly how I feel. I think they could win. If we're talking about them being 9-3 and in the ACC race for a long time, is that going to surprise me? No. Why would that surprise me after last year? Basketball, football, yeah, Patty, so far. Is that being a homer? Just giving an honest opinion. I don't think they'll just be a 6 or 7 win team. I think at least 8. See, it's hard giving a number because I don't know exactly what else is going on in the league. I'm not worried about any of that noise right now. I want to see how they look. I want to see how these teams look. Morris is on my ACC championship and college football playoff, or I'm out. I'm just saying that the league is upside down every year. We don't know. There's nothing for sure about this league. Does anybody think Mike Norvell all of a sudden is going to have Florida State back because he was kept because of every other reason than they feel like he can be a good coach? There you go, West. First 6 games, very manageable. Yep. After that, sure, right. And let's say they go 5-1, which that could very well be the record, right? Then you got to win 3 or 4 more, given okay. Is Miami all of a sudden, because they had a great run, they played for the national title, give them their flowers? I agree at 100% with Andy. I don't look at Mario Cristobal as being this dynamic head football coach. I think he's a manager of a football program. And I think Franklin is a bit of that too. He has to have really good coordinators, and but he has more, it feels like, more of an X's and O's acumen than Mario Cristobal. If Tech's 9-3, I'm not going to be sitting here like most of the people going, wow, where'd that come from? I could see that. Because you got the quarterback. Again, I've already explained it once. But if you think I'm a homer, then that's fine. Whatever you think. But I'm in mode of what our next guest is probably going to talk about again. Show us. I don't worry about expectations, but just show us. I just know what the league was like last year. I mean, think about it. Virginia didn't blow anybody away last year. Virginia didn't win games, and then at the end of those games, you went, wow. I mean, those Cavaliers, woo, you don't want any part of those guys. And again, I'm not taking anything away from them. They won a lot of close games, and they didn't have the toughest slate the way it turned out. And then they got in there, earned themselves a chance to play, and then they lost the ACC title game to Duke. Now, I'm not saying the ACC had the right, tiebreaker format in place. It should have been Miami. But you tell me. I mean, Pitt's supposed to be better. Okay, what does that mean? Does that mean they're not beatable in Lane Stadium on a Friday night? No. Does anybody here think Mike Norvell's just all of a sudden going to get Florida State to 8, 9, 10 wins this year because he stayed one more year? No. He's completely lost that program since they were completely robbed of a playoff berth. Is Virginia going to bounce back and have another double-digit win season? So why can't Tech? I mean, people are going to ask why. Well, why couldn't they? I think Grunkemeyer is going to be outstanding. The offensive line is the key for me. I think they're going to run the ball. I think the receivers could develop a little better than we think depth-wise. I think the tight ends are going to be dynamic. I think they'll have the best use of tight ends of anybody in the ACC. How's the defense going to play? Like Andy said, they don't have any stars. Copeland, but guys develop. I mean, everything's an if. It's the way it is across the country. Everybody's an if. I mean, for me, I think it was you, if you're still around. You said you watched the Ohio State and Michigan games, and both of those teams didn't look good. Right? It's spring. The only guarantee is SMU will be a factor. Yes. Yes, they will. They'll be better because they have the money to keep people around, and yes, they will be. Yeah. All I know is VT won't lose to JMU. True. God, it's just such a horrific mistake. It's such a bad mistake. Yeah, it was just a horrible decision. It was. It's always a good decision when this gentleman joins us. He is the quintessential source for all things Tech football. Got his Tech garb on.
Man.
It's Dwight Vick. Dwight, what was a worse decision? Virginia Tech deciding to drop the James Madison game, or the MCU killing off Iron Man at the end of Endgame?
Hey, boy, you coming with some heat this morning. Hold on. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you for real, it was MCU killing off Iron Man.
Because now they're trying to reboot the thing, and he's not around. He's going to be Dr. Doom. It doesn't make any sense.
No. I mean, JMU. I wanted to, play them and kind of shut them up a little bit. But I respect JMU. I've come on and said how great of a program they've been the last 5-6 years. But man, Iron Man game, boy, that was a terrible decision. I would have given him like I would have given Robert crazy money, man, to keep him. Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hey, Rick. I brought my bag. You know, just in case, man. I need to jump out of here.
Okay. You got to go somewhere? Is that what you're doing?
No, I'm talking about what happened at the spring game with the parachute. I got my bag. Making sure I'm good. I got my bag.
We got to get into that. You had a great take this week. But before we do, congratulations to the family and to Isaiah. I know he went through a terrific journey and he has his destination, correct? You guys
Yeah, man. It's been I was talking to Isaiah last night. He signed his scholarship paperwork and he's going to be going down to Louisiana. Where he's going to school at Northwestern State. The Southland Conference, great conference too. One thing about my son's journey, I've learned a lot about some of these other colleges. I wasn't so much biased, but being someone that played in the Big East, before Tech went into the ACC, I was more familiar with the Big Ten and all of those other conference, SEC, and then you start having kids, not just Isaiah, but other kids I work with or just pay attention to who I help. And you hear about all these other schools, and there's so many places you can play college basketball and coach a college football at. So he's at Northwestern State. Well, he'll be there in June. He finishes up at Wingate in May. I got a lot going on. May's a busy, busy month, man. My son comes home. My middle child, my oldest daughter graduates from ODU in the middle of May, Mother's Day, and then of course my son's birthday is May 4th, and my wife's birthday is May 25th. So May is going to be insane. But Isaiah, man, listen, I'm not trying to be LeVar Ball. I'm not trying to make all these crazy guarantees. I'm just telling you, I told you when he was at Fork Union and your listeners, I said, hey, this kid can play. I said, I'm telling you, he's really good. 6'7", you can maybe argue 6'8". He is very skilled. He can play defense. I know there were some people, why didn't Tech? I don't know what Tech's doing. I don't, we go where we want it, where you're going to shine. I'm very happy for him. He just really locked in, and it's a different world. I watched the segment with you and Keon about, NIL and the portal, and I like when Keon comes on, my guy from Radford. He gives great insight about college basketball. It is what it is now, man. You're going to have to, with the portal and NIL, a lot of kids now coming out of high school compared to when he played and when I played don't go right where they should have gone. Like, the one thing about his situation, a lot of the D2s were like, if this was 9-10 years ago, we wouldn't even been talking to you. He would have came out of Patriot High School and going right to a D1. But I appreciate all the schools that showed love. I mean, he got contacted by a lot of schools, man. Liberty, Moorhead, Radford, so many. I can't name them. At least 16, 17, 18, 19, UMass, Loyola. A lot of schools. I mean, what I'm learning is the mid-major D1s pull from the D2s, and the D Power Fours pull from the mid-majors.
Yep.
Right? That's how it kind of works. So people have asked, well, if he goes to Northwestern State, what are they going to, will he move again? I would say we're going to make sure, and I say we because we make everything for all three of our kids as a family decision. I would say if he moves again, it'll be basically the final move, because even if they approve this new NCAA rule in May, it'll be a situation where, the NCAA are looking at having it just 5 years, no more trying to put a cap on all these guys playing 8, 9, 7 years.
Right.
So he'll have 5 years to play. So hopefully, Lord willing, he continues to stay focused, healthy, locked in. And if he does go somewhere again, it'll be a situation where that'll be the final move. He really did love his time at Wingate. And that's the other side of the portal. A lot of fans don't realize is there are a lot of kids that don't necessarily want to move around. It's just some of these kids moving around because, as I've told you, they're told to.
Well,
and I almost came on the comment section when Keon was speaking, because he talked about all these kids moving around. I'm telling you, Rick, and I don't know if the average Tech fan knows in football and basketball, there are a lot of kids that are told to go into the portal.
Yeah,
that's a lot. Like coaches are using this system the same way the kids are. You know, that coaches tell me, I hate it. Yet, whether it's Radford, Boston College, Syracuse, Miami, there are a lot of kids that are told, hey, look, you didn't produce like we thought you were. This is after 1 year. Remember patience and development? They're
yeah.
No. It's like, we spent this much money on you. We need you to leave. So here's your boarding pass. Here's your keys. and they tell you to go. So there's a little bit of what can you do for me now versus what you can do for me later. And that's just the way the game goes, man. So these kids have a lot of pressure on them, even though they're getting paid. It is definitely, you have to produce. But I'm proud of my son, man. I'm proud of my son because even when I talked to him last night, he was talking about when he gets home, he's going to lock in. I mean, he works out constantly. Some of these kids are like, well, I'm chilling. I'm about to make this TikTok. I'm about to go see what Shorty talking about over here. In Dumfries or something. Nah, he's enjoying college life, but he is ready to continue to prove people wrong about his trajectory.
No, congratulations to all of you, especially him. So pass that along for me, and that's great. He's got a good spot. That's a good basketball, so it's a good area. My fiance is from Louisiana. She's Cajun girl. She loves that area, so he'll enjoy it down there. He'll have a great
time.
Time.
Man, we saw where they filmed Still Magnolias.
That's right.
It's right there, like literally, it's right there beside the campus, man. So, good. Listen, that Cajun food and the food down there. When we went on the visit, we were there 3 days, man. I was good.
That's the truth. Yeah, it's their food is the truth. Yeah,
I gotta get out of here, man. I was eating like I was 19, bro.
All right, your take on the spring game. You brought your parachute bag, and you called me that night. And it's funny, since you said that, I think you were the first. I've seen other people say the same thing. Yep, there it is.
Yeah. First off, man, let me just say before somebody jumps in my mentions, I'm very happy the guy is okay. I really am. But when I saw it, man, I know it wasn't televised, but I was working. Daughter had a volleyball tournament, so I was moving and shaking. And I said, you know what? Let me take a break. And I said, let me check to see what's going on. I was checking Andy Bitter or whoever. Yeah, Andy. And I was looking at the tweets, trying to see what was going on. And I said, what? Prayers? I kept seeing all this stuff about, oh, my God. And then all of a sudden the video surfaced on my timeline, my feed. And I see a guy, boom, hit the scoreboard. I said, what? Is this AI? I'm like, what? So I kept seeing it. And I couldn't help myself. I just posted. I'm like, hey, man, why are we doing the most for a spring game? Let's everybody pump the brakes a little bit. This is a spring game. And then one of my followers is like, no, Franklin wanted to treat it like he wanted everything like game-like procedures. And I was like, I don't know if that's accurate, but that's not Franklin's fault. But I will say, like, to me, I just didn't understand the need to do all that. It's a spring game. I mean, look, for a few days, Tech was trending for all the wrong reasons. And one thing I felt like, even though this has nothing to do with the football program, it's football related, where a guy could have died, right? Can you imagine? Can you imagine if he didn't hit that thing and hit the cement or the field and just was, and I mean, it would have been beyond tragic, right? Life would have been lost, and it would have been, then all of a sudden the game would have been canceled. Again, the stuff like that happened. And I saw something the other day, a tiger got loose in the circus. So, stuff happens. I just hate it for me being a Tech guy. I just want us to have our spring game. The crowd was great. The weather was immaculate. I just wanted to, them to just kick the ball off. But I told you, I think you asked me a year or so ago, some stuff I'm old school on, some stuff I'm new school on. I don't really care for spring games anymore. Because I feel like you can take away some stuff, but I feel like basically it's almost like, okay, let's say like we had 3 receivers catch 3 touchdowns, right? In the first 14 minutes. That means, does it mean we have great receiver play, or is our secondary really bad? Right. It's almost like it's a glorified practice. And like I was telling my wife after I spoke to you over the weekend, and I'm not trying to say my time was so much better, but when you look at the spring games from the 90s and the 2000s, it was really full tilt. It was like the pads were cracking. It was, I mean, I remember I played my last spring game with 2 broken hands, and across from me is John Engelberger, you know what I'm saying, and Corey Moore. And we were going live. Those are 2 All-Americans, 2 of the best D linemen in Virginia Tech history. It was 1 D line versus 1 O line. And the linebackers were the first unit, and the running backs behind me were the first unit, and the secondary for them was the 2. So it was split up fairly, and you could really get an evaluation. But even during the Mike Vick era, a spring game is basically you want to leave with no injuries. It's almost like let's have a good game, but let's get out of here unscathed with no. And I just think the energy was great that day, but the parachute thing was wild, Rick. I'm just like, man, can we just have something normal? I don't want to. I mean, it was just like, I you know what? And I'm just gonna say this: I like flyovers. I think flyovers with the jets and all of that is cool. I've never gotten hype when a guy comes down. Or woman. I don't.
Yeah.
It's not. To me, I'm like, hey man, prayer, national anthem. Let's kick off. I don't need like woo, and then he comes down and he lands. I'm like, man, save that somewhere for a field trip, man. I don't know. That's just me. I've never gotten hyped like, hey man, hey, you see that landing right there, man?
I know.
I have never understood that, man. And I'm not saying it's easy, because one thing about me, even if I was smaller, you ain't never gonna catch me jumping out.
No, me either.
This is just for this segment. I'm not going nowhere.
You're not actually going. No, I agree with you. And yeah, you're right. Wow, did you see that landing? The game could be like it's great 21-21 game at halftime. Yeah, but what about that landing?
I just, again, a lot of my ex-teammates, former teammates were in town. They rave about the weekend, and they talked about Franklin, but I just felt like, the trending, going viral for all the wrong reasons. But I'm moving towards the season. I'm hoping that all the things I saw as far as the recaps and some of the highlights continue to carry on during the season.
Well, let's talk about your cousin. He's going in the Virginia Hall of Fame. I know that's got to be it feels like it's long overdue, to be honest with you. But
yeah,
if you talk too much about it, he's got to be very excited. I mean, the guy changed the position in college football forever.
Yeah, we haven't caught up really since his spring game or whatever. I mean, I've been super busy traveling with Isaiah, and then of course, my Victory Life work. I mean, I jumped on the Boundary Corner podcast a few nights ago, and they were really happy to see me. Those are my guys, but
yeah, great.
A lot of people have been saying I've been incognito, I've been missing, which I just been busy. I mean, I jump on your show every Thursday morning, but I haven't really been as vocal on Twitter and all the things I normally do. But as far as Mike goes, man, I mean, he's one of the GOATs. You think about Virginia Tech really honing in on him. This is during the era, for those that are longtime OGs of sports, recognize and remember Ronald Curry, who is a great class act himself, was one of the best quarterbacks, one of the best athletes in VHSL high school history.
Ever.
He was National Gatorade Player of the Year in football and basketball, and him and Mike were in the same district. And this is literally this occurred right after Allen Iverson and Aaron Brooks, the former New Orleans Saints All-Pro quarterback and UVA star, just left the district. So I'm in the same year as Aaron Brooks and Allen Iverson. We all leave and graduate, and then you turn around, you have Ronald Curry and Mike Vick. It was, and then right after they left, you had Marcus Higgins, and you had him and my cousin Marcus Vick. Right after they graduated, you had Taj Boyd and Tyrod Taylor, who the Taj Boyd, the Clemson great. So you think about that golden era in my district in the 757 on the peninsula was insane. But Mike, you know, basically, as they say, a rose grew from the concrete. I mean, he came from Ridley Circle Projects. He went to Blacksburg, very humble, very locked in. I sold him. I recruited Mike. To Tech hard because I kept telling everybody in the locker room, I kept telling everybody, look, my cousin, if we get him, he's going to come here and he's going to change the game. You know, I'm telling you, and people kind of, you know, I'm not going to say I'm a prophet, but I have stayed at a Holiday Inn and I've been right a lot, right? And when I tell people something, I'm spot on. When I trust my gut, when I tell you about somebody or something, believe me, because I don't speak on nothing I don't know. If I don't know, I listen and I learn. And 100%. I learn. Even when I know, So, man, Mike was just great. I remember, man, in practice, 7-on-7, which is now people taking a drill and made it into a lucrative profit with 7-on-7. But in 7-on-7 as a red shirt, the starting quarterback that year was my guy, Al Clark from D.C. But Mike was in there. And I remember we were all at different stations, the line, D-line, everybody was in their different sections during practice. This is on the old practice field. And he drops back, and you almost could hear the football being thrown. He throws like a long bomb. And everybody was like, what the you can hear it. And it was like, I mean, I'm not even lying about this, Rick. I'm telling you, everybody was like, hey, yo, you know, it was like you hear people whispering. And it was almost like the practice stopped. And then he just kept doing it. And then I remember we went to team, one-on-ones versus ones. We had team in that drill. And that's when the first team offense goes against the first team defense. And the second team offense goes against second team defense. And they put in Mike. You know, Beamer was evaluated. They put Mike in the huddle with me and the ones, the O-line and the running backs and the receivers. And Mike was this young kid. He was nervous. And he called the play and he was whispering. And they were like, yo, speak up, speak up. And he called the play again. And it was an option. It might have been a speed option. I remember we ran it. And again, I'm blocking or whatever. But then all of a sudden you see some little daredevil, fast little blur come through. And he's just shaking people. And it was just like, you could just hear people like, woo. It was like when Friday Night Lights, the movie, when Boobie Miles was just doing stuff in practice. And he became a legend, man. I mean, Tech Beamer and Kavanaugh and Height and Stein Spring, especially Stein Spring, because the 757 was his area. And they did the right thing by going in on him where everybody else was trying to get Curry. They knew Mike was their guy, and they put all the eggs in the right basket. And the biggest competition was McNabb and Syracuse, but Mike was a better. And I sold him. I said, you come to Virginia Tech, cuz you will change the position. You will change the game, because I knew we only graduated like 5 seniors that year. Me, Lauren Johnson, Keon Carpenter, Pearson Prelo, and maybe like Derek Smith. One of my best friends and my lineman mate, my roommate, he was on the left side. He got drafted by the Redskins. So, you know, everybody else came back. And then that 99 season, in 98, we went 9-3. And we lost 3 games, and we led by 14 points or more. So we should have been undefeated. We finished that season ranked 18th in the country. We beat the brakes off Alabama in the Music City Bowl. Yep. And then Mike came back. In that JMU game, you saw, you know, what he could do. And then, you know, and I'm happy for him. I know, you know, he had his mishaps, you know, all the stuff that happened, but to see him going into the Hall of Fame, to see him coaching a Division I program, to see him redefine himself as a man, as a father, as a leader, as a person, it's a blessing to me and everybody in our family, and to others that fall short, that realize that you can get yourself back together. And he never made any excuses about that. He never blamed anybody. Didn't blame his environment.
Nope.
And it's just great, man. I'm happy for him, man. I mean, a lot of this stuff is long overdue, but you talk about every time I see a clip of him on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook,
I'm the same way.
It was like I saw all this live, and it's like I will stop. I'll see something, I'll be like, God bless America. I'm just like, yo, it's just amazing, man.
They showed a 70-yard. I know that some random site put, if you know, you know, and it was Mike Vick hitting Andre Davis on a 70-yard pass, and the way he just effortlessly threw it in the air 60 yards. I think Andre caught it like at the 5. I'm like, how?
And you know, man, I think David Till wrote about this one time. It wasn't like an article, but it was some tweets when we got some commitments. I remember we got Bucky Hodges, the hybrid tight end out of Virginia Beach, who was a quarterback in high school. And Bucky said, you know, he was a Tech fan and he loved Mike Vick. And Mike hadn't played. Like, the longevity of his iconic impact is still being benefited, not just by Virginia Tech, but by sports and football, where kids who were little or didn't even know were alive when he played still want to be a part of his legacy because of his impact on the game. Like he really had a great impact. And that's kind of amazing. And, you know, the one thing I'll say to bring it back home to Virginia Tech football is when I think about I said this on the Boundary Corner podcast of the night when they went live. When you think about what Mike Vick walked into, and this is one thing Virginia Tech has been missing, and they still haven't gotten it yet, even with Franklin there, and hopefully Franklin and their staff can get these guys right. Mike walked into a program, a culture that knew how to win. So he came along with Andre Davis. They weren't the same class, but him, Andre Davis, Ricky Hall, Andre Kendrick, all those young guys that were coming in, Willie Powell when I was a senior and then leaving. When all those guys came in, Rania Whitaker, God rest his soul, they walked into a situation where like, okay, Sugar Bowl, Orange Bowl, Gator Bowl, we win, we work hard, we work hard, we work hard. Okay, there's Sharon Stenton, Lamont Pegues, and Marcus Parker, Ken Oxendine, Brian Edmonds. Okay, we got to follow their suit. You know, so Virginia Tech, when people say, you know, can they win this year? I caught the end of your segment as I was logging on. Absolutely.
Right.
But to me, the biggest challenge for them is who are your leaders? When Mike Vick walked in, he wasn't his redshirt freshman. The leader of that team was Corey Moore and Jamel Smith and John Engelberger, right? So he kind of walked into a situation where he was the face of the program, but you had other people that showed him how to lead, right? To me, nobody on, not to me, this is not even just my opinion, this is the truth. Not one player on Virginia Tech's roster, I don't care if they came from one of the best programs in the state, like Highland Springs, Green Run, all, you know, Oscar Smith, nobody, because that's high school, nobody on this roster has won a damn thing.
That's right.
They have not won anything. So Virginia Tech has been so suspect, so bad the last several years. The culture, which is Franklin is working on, they have to learn and show and prove on the field. Despite all the rankings, the talent, the great vibes, they gotta win. And that's not a portal NIL issue. That's a mismanaged program issue. Because other programs have been winning. So the culture is there when a kid walks in, he realizes, okay, when I come in here, they win. Remember Chad Ochocinco and other players, Randy Moss, when they got to the New England Patriots, they were like, oh, this is the Patriot way. Tom Brady is at practice before anybody, so they follow suit. Virginia Tech, we learned last year, practice never started on time.
Right, exactly. So, we found that out.
I mean, those are small things that, you know, translate to the field. So these guys, to me, have to win, you know, have to learn how to win.
No, that's a great point. And nothing's going to surprise me one way or the other. I mean, the ACC is wide open, and it feels like it's the trajectory is headed in the right direction, but it is year number one, and guys are going to have to develop, but you just have to trust the process. But I wouldn't be a bit surprised to see it. And Yeah, it's an exciting time, man. I know your family. It's great. It's great. I'm so glad for Michael, and I'm so glad for it's great, man. You guys have your legacy. You talk. I think about it. That word, what a victory life and the legacy. What a perfect combination you put together there. Because the Vic legacy, not only at Virginia Tech but in this state, is going to go on and on and on because of everybody that's continuing to build on it. Like you said, getting better every day, helping out people like you do every day. That's your legacy. So it's awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, man. I am proud of it. I was talking to my sister, not to bring up any sour grapes for my Tech fans, but I got a nephew. We've talked about him. He's a high 3-star, borderline 4-star safety and wide receiver. He plays on both sides, but he's committed to UVA, and he's at Bethel High School in Hampton, Virginia. And he had 18, 19 Division I offers. He's a rising senior, so he's got one more year, but he's going to enroll into UVA early. But I mean, me and my sister and I were talking about how you got, Isaiah, going D1 now, and my nephew's D1, Derek, Mike, Marcus, myself, and then my youngest daughter, Lauren, man, she's a phenomenal volleyball player. My oldest daughter was a great volleyball player. So we don't, you look at like sports families, nobody sits around and says, we're going to do this. But, God blessed us with, a great situation where we just have, we've been blessed with athletes. But more importantly, I'm more proud of the fact that we understand our gifts and our talents, and we're using it to our advantage. Where one of the worst things in this world, and I'm gonna give you a movie bar, is wasted talent. That's from A Bronx Tale. You know what I'm saying? Wasted talent. And being from the 757, and it could be the same issue in Christiansburg or Radford. I watch a lot of your shows and your segments when you have Almation on and those guys from Southwest Virginia that you play ball with. And the great thing about those guys, you talk about legacy, they can look back on their life. Because we're all getting old. I'm old now. I'm on the other side of the fence. So like I got time left. But I'm not on the same side where I was. But when I look back right now, if I just stop and look back, I have not wasted my talent. I'm creating a legacy. So you talk about our family, we're leaving a legacy. So even my grandchildren, other people that watch us from afar can respect it and buy into it, and see how we used our talent.
No, agreed 100%. 100%. Well, man, listen, it's exciting stuff. Congratulations as always. And you and I are going to have something to talk about here to let people know about soon.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we're going to keep that.
We'll keep that.
Yeah. I'm excited. Yeah. That's a great tease, as they say.
We're both movie guys. We need to put together a movie trailer is what we need to do.
Yeah.
What is that? What's that?
Yeah.
Well, have a great weekend, and appreciate you as always. And we'll talk.
Yes, sir. You too. Thank you.
All right, brother. Take care.
All right,
there you go.
Sir.
White Vic. Good stuff. Yeah. Great stuff. Well, he had his parachute. Good stuff. All right. Thanks, everybody. Great show today. I got to head to the, I got to go to the dentist. Yeah. So I got to do that this morning. Anyway, thanks to David Smith getting this cued in on round 1 of the draft tonight. Enjoy that. That'll be exciting. Hey, you got Nate Burleson, the Kelseys, and Stephen A. Smith. Have fun. Thanks to Andy Bitter, Alex Square, and Dwight Vic. Please subscribe, like, and share the channel. Good luck tonight. Well, it won't be tonight, Pezzo. It'll be tomorrow. It'll be tomorrow. Yeah, I wish it was just a cleaning. Yeah. But everybody take care. Subscribe, like, share the channel. Thanks to our sponsors who we've talked about a lot today. And thanks to you, the best listening and viewing audience on YouTube. We'll see you tomorrow on the finally Friday edition, everybody. Enjoy the warm weather today. We got mid-70 temperatures. All right. Take care.